Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Team Fortress TV. We are now sort of getting into the bulk of season 34 of Six's ETF2L Prem right now with the qualifiers. Both these teams absolutely gagging for one of those 8 spots in the Prem division. The two teams we're going to be seeing today is going to be LF Roma versus miscellaneous French team. I'm joined on the mic by Josh with Jazz on production. Josh, how is it going?
It's going good. How are you?
I'm not too bad, mate, but uh, at least one of the teams in this server is probably going to be having a pretty bad night, as spaces in Prem are going to be pretty limited at this time around. They are 2 of 4 teams that want a clawing spot in Prem. This is going to be one of the semi-finals match. At the same time, it's going to be the League of Shadows versus Vibrams, which I believe is going to be covered by Dumtum and Dave on the B stream. So we'll have to see how that pans out as well, and which of these teams is going to progress through to have another crack at getting their way into Prem. So on one side, we've got the French team, which consists of Neo, Demoul, Ron's, Duo, Alien Smiley, and Patchouli. What's your general thoughts on that one, Josh?
I mean, if you look at the experience that the Frenchies bring to this squad, you would think that this should be a pretty comfortable win. However, you got to look into the fact that there's not really like a predominant designated leader for this sort of team. Like looking at this sort of roster, you got QB, who like all these players have played in like Prem, like mid Prem for a long time, and then you've got the people that would take it to the top Prem, like Rons and Neo. But none of them are really like designated leaders of like the French squads. There's no like the last sort of French leader you probably had was like Ombrac, who would like be a full main caller. But then again, when something went wrong, it was really hard for him to do that as well. Like Duo was never like a main caller. Neo has always been like a pretty silent but violent scout. Ron's just Ron's is like the DM sort of character that you need, but not really like the leader.
Yeah, so we've
This
seen a lot of individuals out of these guys, and
Yes, it's
yeah,
there's going to
yeah.
be like a lot of individual talent, and I mean they've got a nice little advantage tonight. They've got Demoul with them, and Demoul is like renowned. Demoul certified Prem winner, played very consistently top Prem a long time, so maybe he might be able to take control a bit. But he's on flank scouts, and you don't really like lead a team from the flank. You're just sort of you're fighting like 2 uphill battles if you do something like that. I mean, maybe Alien might have been practicing like just leading the team. If Alien's on demo, which I think he is, it's probably the ideal class for him to do it. Because I don't really see anyone else taking the lead on this sort of team.
Yeah, it certainly is a wealth of experience, but yeah, really good point on that. And managing to net them all for this official as a merc, but he will not be able to stick around, unfortunately, for those guys. But on the other side, LF Roma, we have got Af and Hempers on the scouts. We got Geordie and Silves seemingly on the soldiers. Derpy Hooves, Demo Man, and Auto Medic. How do you think these guys shape up? Of course, a slightly more tenuous links to Prem from these guys, but again, their experience is not really to be sniffed at.
I mean, you compare it to the Frenchies, the experience is just not there. You've got Af is like quite a renowned, like good scout. I remember like getting dicked by him a fair few times. Never really like shone at top prem, but he could easily contest lower to mid prem. So that's going to be one saving grace for him. Combine that with Auto, like if they make like a solid unit, them two will be like very very strong together. But you've got soldiers that have not played Prem consistently or really like for a long time at all. So the soldier disconnection will be there. When you compare that to the French soldiers, the Frenchies love playing their double mixes a lot. They're always playing with each other. There's going to be like a bigger element of synergy within the Frenchies. As long as like there's no tilt factor that gets in the way, the French soldiers could absolutely crush the blue soldiers or the LF Roma soldiers even. And then demo matchup, don't know. Last season, Derpy Hooves was getting outshined by a lot of other demos. It wasn't really having too much of a good impact, but we'll see how it happens on this first mid now since the game has gone live.
Yep, so first map is going to be Snakewater. This is the pre-season qualifiers for Season 40 ETF2L Prem. We have LF Roma versus the Frenchies. Frenchies going to be in blue, LF Roma in the red, and a pretty rapid mid coming out. Derpy Hopes of significantly faster than Alien Smiley, taking an awful lot of space for the French side here, but we're seeing a really rapid bomb there from Rons, managing to pull back Kempus, and Dwo coming in, trying to follow up on that. Bit of a melee on this left-hand lane here, but Alien Smiley being the first casualty of the mid, as is Ron's Patchouli so weak, does mean that the Frenchies are going to have to recede out of that fight there.
Solid mid straight away. Debu's a fantastic rollout. I don't know if Alien maybe beefed his, but that mid was over before it even started. Alien took about 70 damage instantly through the door. And then you've got I think this is AZN going for a counterplay onto Auto. That's a lovely pick. That's a really, really nice pick. He shouldn't have really got that pick. 5 players around his mid, and now they're just going to try and feed for Patchouli. Gets forced as well. So, but they didn't get the cap as well, and now they're just getting crushed.
Yeah, there was an attempt at a scrabble for the scouts to slip away lower there, but just getting completely crunched. That cap not over the line, so LF Roma managed to solidify themselves on mid. Frenchie's going to get a couple of forward spawns, however, and then just sort of reconcile. We've got the Frenchies holding this midpoint now, waiting to make their next move, but 3 spawners from LF Roma only just coming out now.
Nice little pick onto Demo straight away. This could be opportunity for a fight. They know Rons is very weak. Like, I think they're probably going to give a bit too much respect to the Uber though. Jordy's going in for a very, very ambitious bomb.
Ambitious it was, yeah, it does get picked off pretty rapid there, but LF Roma are keen to maintain this pressure, and Sills wants to have a crack as well, but just gets completely dommed on by Rons there. And the Frenchies, 2-player advantage. They've got a pretty tight Uber here as well, but they just want to barrel their way straight into last. They're at this shutter now. Alien Swiley Neo leading the push. Both Ubers now up, but the players from LF Roma have just spawned. A huge bomb coming in from Dro, but unable to get the force off from Auto, and he just receives back into spawn. It looks like a bit of a fail push from the Frenchies, but they managed to maintain their Uber charge there.
They actually managed to lose the Uber ads that they saved by winning the mid, and also might get caught here as well. They're doing a lot of progression. No, Patchouli gets caught and forced. Jody, that's a really well played bomb from Jody, and now they've got a really strong position here. They should not be like too afraid to take this point. It should be a nice little cruise into mid.
Yeah, the Frenchies managed to keep all alive, though. They're going to try and position themselves, try and get on this high ground, and try and get a nice early force out of LF Roma. It is still 0-0, a lot to play for, but LF Roma now making their way in through Sword, Derpy Hooves and Hempers leading the charge, but Frenchies definitely ready to receive. We see Dwo coming in, trying to initiate straight away. Only 1 rocket off onto Auto, and it's not going to be enough to get the force off, and they are able to take this really, really slowly without even popping that Uber charge. The Frenchies back out with 60%.
Patchouli does not seem to be building well at all. He's in that whole transition there, the 15 seconds it took for them to take mid, he only built 30% Uber. This is horrendous. They won't be able to hold second because of this as well, and they're going to potentially lose Neo as well. They lost both scouts as well. This is horrendous.
And that's still the Uber charge.
Yeah, that's really poor from the Frenchies. They could have easily been able to get Uber there for that second height.
Well, Rons nearly gets picked up as well, but Dwo and Alien throwing themselves in the way, trying to keep him alive, but it's all sort of falling apart. Their scouts up in 2 seconds, but losing Alien Smiley on this right-hand side, really not ideal. Uber eventually coming out, and Auto maintains his for the 3rd point in a row.
Oh, that's just sort of misplay after misplay after misplay. They have 3 picks, but the problem is Snakewater second times on this point for the attacking team are so low that it's incredibly difficult to push out, especially when you do a bomb like that. When you don't need a bomb like that, you can just play the point. Now they've got a nice full Uber ad to just like take up into last. They can just take it slow, buff up. If they if Auto pays attention to this and realizes Patchouli builds this slow, they can exploit this all game long.
Yeah, of course, it is a best-of-3 series, but eventually Auto does pop the Uber charge, and all of the Frenchies go into spawn. They've not decided to play the point just yet, LF Roma, but they got a decent crack at the time now. All of the Frenchies on this low ground, they're just taking a bit of a melee. The health really not looking good. Demul trying to do what he can on the heavy, managing to get Hempers for his efforts. It's just a bit of a bum fight here. Auto does get bombed by Dwo, but looking like he might just slip out with Derpy Hooves, but I think the Frenchies might be quite keen to chase this.
I think Derpy Hooves gets caught if Rons... No, Rons, go for the pogo! Rons beef this, Rons could have... No, that's...
Oh man.
Rons could have caught Auto there, like, instead of going for the spam rockets and just goes for the pogo through cheese, that's an instant kill on Auto there. And now Sills gets an easy force onto Patchouli. Patchouli took 30 damage and got forced. I know his scout was a little bit low, but Neo's not going to die to that in that situation. Oh, it's a very rough start for the Frenchies. Like LF Roma are definitely playing like quite well so far, but they're just capitalizing on the Frenchies' mistakes just much more efficiently.
Yeah, it seems like the Frenchies, when they try and pressure, they're not really gaining anything out of LF Roma, and they're just able to keep it rolling for multiple points, and just taking advantage of the 1 or 2 players down. And it looks like they kind of want to do that again as they make their way towards Shutter with this 50% Uber advantage, and they're really quick out of the gate here. No early frags, and the Frenchies managing to back up to this left-hand side, but that point looking pretty open bar those stickies thus far. All the players from the French side gapped into spawn, bar Rond, but he is not enough to block that cap, and it goes over the line with Geordie, Af, and Hempers, and LF Roma are 1 round up.
Nice, pretty clean last push. Take the gun, take good space. They picked up Dro very quickly. Dro should be playing a bit more passive as well. But if LF Roma sort of realise this as well, they can. If LF Roma look at how the last holds of the French squad, they could definitely like realise they could cap the point instantly when they're getting in through the shutter door. No one is in the position to block ever.
Yeah, those stickies, the only real thing posing a threat to them, but a slightly more even mid, seemingly this time. Both teams in position. We're seeing the initiation coming out of Rons and Duo. Ultimately there, they get a decent hunk of damage off. A long time to get them denied. It's going to be a 3v4. Patchouli and Neo still up from the Frenchy side as Auto goes down for LF Roma, and they're just going to try and scrabble their way out, but with Neo going down, Patchouli's days are certainly going to be numbered here, and he does kill bind.
Delayed his death a bit longer though, that's like, and you can't do that against a medic like Auto. Auto's a similar medic to Seeds in the regards that he can boot incredibly quick. That's gonna, if LF Roma will realise this, they're already building straight away out of the store. They're gonna have at least probably 35 ad to work with, then moving into this like second point now when they get the heals up. I mean, it doesn't matter that they've not capped, the cap's gonna be a bit slow because the Frenchies aren't gonna contest this anyway.
Yeah, plenty of time to tick down as they get that cap over the line. 50% away from Uber charge now, LF Roma on the red side, and they're just going to be quite contented. They're 1 round up. They're quite keen just to build this Uber charge up and then see what they can make of the Frenchies' last ult, see if they can disassemble it again and identify what's going on. Demul's trying to get a cheeky little pick on that sniper cast, protected by Alien Smiley's stickies, but nothing really as of yet, apart from some nice spam from Doe onto Auto.
Oh, nice early pick straight away onto Jody with the gun. He went before his Uber, and Patchouli's got his Uber up now in time. Auto this should be a team wipe here. W Houston's going to leave, but Auto is not. All these players are 1 HP. Still 25. Still should be able. No. Very risky. No, Alien caught him. Well played from Alien. They get a cap now, and they'll be able to delay the Sylph's death as well. They should be able to delay Derpy Hooves death as well, actually. So it's going to be a 6-on-4 into this mid. There'll be a nice free hold. There's no off classes either coming out from the Frenchies, so this hold on mid is going to be really, really difficult. They're just going to have to like back out straight away.
Yeah, Uber advantage in hand as well. Very little high ground at bar these scouts here, and they're at risk of losing yet another one. Geordie seems to want to try and initiate, manages to pick up Demul, but it ends up just being a trade as Rons picks up Hempers on the side of LF Roma. But they are buying themselves a little bit of time, LF Roma, but also taking a big old chunk of damage as well. So Frenchies just really want to try and get this cap over the line and then just barrel forward into second. Try and use this advantage, sitting at 40% now. LF Roma up on these bats.
Jody had a lovely little play then, going into the buy time on the mids, and picking up the Demul pick. It actually delayed the Frenchies a substantial amount, and so allowed Auto to get 75% Uber already. They're not going to try and contest the second point. They're going to play the safer game, but that play from Jody actually like very valuable in the long run.
Yeah, certainly did slow them down, and of course off the back of that have managed to equalise the Uber charges here. Frenchies now controlling the lobby area, and they really want to bust in as quickly as they possibly can. They're really not ones to slouch, and that seems to be initiated with a nice pick onto Geordie right at the start there, and now they've got a bit more freedom to play with one of the soldiers eliminated on the LF Roma side, and it looks like their poison of choice is going to be this shutter area, but Demul just seemingly on this point on his own. The bomb's coming in from Rons as well. Just get a nice fat one onto Hempers, but it's not going to be enough. So 4 players up from the Frenchies, but they still want to keep going in.
They forced them as well. There's a very I really like what the Frenchies tried to accomplish there, but it was just very disconnected. If they were a little bit more on sync, that could have been a really, really good play. I mean, they've still got force though as well now. They've got 2 picks. Spawn times are very long on for defenders on this last point. They should know, if they're counting players, they'll know there's no off classes, but if it's just a poor attempt there. They got the pick onto Geordie, and when they backed out, Alien was peeking the left shutter, but he didn't commit. Like, he peeked the left shutter, and he had 5 seconds of vision, and still no one was shooting at him. he could have easily taken the heels and walked forward there and sticky the point for Demul, because Demul got onto the point for free. Like Alien could have instantly traded with Demul, and then they could have sent the soldiers in as well. It was just way too disconnected. But
Yeah,
it could still be a little bit of jitters as well. 10 minutes into playoffs game, you know, obviously there's a lot on the line for the French team. They don't want to go to Div 1, so it makes sense they're probably a little bit disconnected.
yeah, of course, it is a best of three. This map pick is going to be from LF Roma, and they being one round up should be quite happy with that. Perhaps not at the pace they would hope for, but you know, pulling ahead is pulling ahead, and we see Ron's coming in trying to get a sack going, but the gun sort of minces him up just a little bit, but then he rebounds into Auto, taking the dispenser down, but the armor proves too much. And Auto
That was
survives.
that was so cheeky. Did you see Auto crouch in the dispenser?
You hate it. That's Highlander
Oh,
players.
that's such a stupid gimmick. That's unlucky from Rons, but well played from Auto as well, just exploiting that. Like, I mean, there is ways to use it against it. I think if you hit the wall behind the dispenser, then it will still splash Auto, because then the rocket type splash has more splash damage, or more room to splash even. Sorry. So it just needs. Obviously, it shouldn't really be a thing, but it's got to be. It's what the Prem soldier needs to realize of how to sort of like prioritize the rockets.
Yeah, we see all the
Another-
Frenchies taking that lobby area there, but although they had that pick onto Geordie, they just took so much damage, and then they just couldn't peek anywhere, and it just sort of compounded the issue, and they just took even more damage. They're going to have to back out to second, wait for Rons to spawn, and just chill out. You know, there's 18 minutes left in the map. They don't need to do anything too rash here. Can't really squander these opportunities.
This is where if you were the Frenchies, though, I would think you would want to be taking a little bit more risk. You know, you've got 18 minutes, and if you let a team get comfortable on last like this, they know they're going to like. This is where sort of like the mental game comes into it now, because if you're LF Roma, you're just mentally sound. You're not thinking I'm afraid of anything. You're thinking I'm dead comfortable. My hold is super strong. I don't have to worry about anything right now. Like if you're the Frenchies, you want to like keep the pressure on them. You don't want them to let them get that sort of comfort. But the Moor's got a nice little angle onto Auto if he gets a shutter open, but he missed.
Yeah, going to be an exchange of spam in that door. Both of the soldiers on the side, LF Roma, managing to pick up Neo and do a big old chunk of damage to the rest of the Frenchies. All of them in the red. That's really huge pressure from them, and it might just be enough for them to try and make something of it. But we're actually going to see a pause. That's exciting, isn't it, Josh?
Tremendous.
But yes, looks like potentially an opportunity for LF Roma to push out. They've made AF an awful lot of space in this lobby on the sniper class. How do you think this is shaping up so far? You know, we're 12.5 minutes in, only one round conceded. LF Roma are up on their map pick. What do the Frenchies need to do here? Do they need to sort of refrain from sort of use their pressure a little bit better, or are LF Roma just sort of running circles around them at times?
Well, I don't know if you can see Af's angle right now. He's got all the space in the world, and he's got multiple choices. The only sort of saving grace now is if Demul can get into a position quick enough to go for a quick scope, because he's got an angle onto Patchouli, he's got an angle onto Alien, and Rons is going to stand still here and wait for an arrow, because Rons thinks he's in a position where he's going to be safe to get an arrow, so he's not going to be able to jump to block Af in time. This is I mean, Duo's in cheese, but Dopey Heroes is right behind them, so Duo can't even contest him as well. This is sort of like Afcam 101 right now. I mean, he could absolutely whiff the shot as well, and then nothing happens from it. But Af has got all the room in the world right now to like completely turn this game around.
Yeah, there's a feral chunk riding on it, and the combo from LF Roma not looking too healthy at the minute as it stands either. But the Frenchies' position not looking too great for themselves either. So we'll have to see this pans out. I suppose while we've got a little bit of downtime, we can go over the other two maps we could potentially be seeing tonight. This is of course LF Roma's pick. The Frenchies' pick was Gully, and then the decider is going to be Process. So what are you thinking? Those are some pretty stable maps there.
Pretty nice maps. Pretty common maps as well. If you were going off it, like you know, if you were going to be a bit wild with your map picks, you'd probably take Sunshine or Reckoner. But you know, they've just obviously taken the comfort picks for the maps and just tried to use like the experience that they'll have combined to play the maps to the best of their ability. And you can definitely see there's much more comfort for LF Roma on this kind of map. than there is for the Frenchies right now. But that could be just due to the Frenchies just having that bit of disconnection right now. You've seen like the first mid, Frenchie soldiers didn't have any synergy on the mid. One went behind, one jumped forward and then jumped out. So Ron's got sort of baited very hard and Alien died. Second mid, both soldiers went in together. It was a really good sync bomb, but the focus fire wasn't there. They did get auto towards the tail end of it, but again, it was like it took 5 to 6 seconds too long for them to get that initial pick when they could have instantly blown him up because there was 4 red players on the floor, so there wasn't easy pickings.
Yeah,
Right,
so
like right now, I don't know. Right now, I'm thinking if I'm the Frenchies, if I was in the Frenchies position, I would be thinking I don't want to go to comfort strategies like this because you're slowing the game down. You're making the game sort of you're playing into LF Roma's hands. You're playing their pace. Like their pace right now is slow. They're happy to play slow. If you're the Frenchies, you want to keep the game fast. You want to make it so they're constantly trying to think of what's coming next. And you know, they did like one sack attempt with Ron's, and he failed. And then it took 3 minutes for that to happen, and then that was it. And then they just switched to a sniper, and they've gone to a comfort setup. And I think they just did an unpause pause there. So
yeah.
I think we should be ready to go in a sec.
Yeah, hopefully someone going to be trickling in, and the Frenchies hopefully be able to stunt some of LF Roma's momentum. Unfortunately, it does not hit that shot here, but they have cemented themselves in lobby. Patchouli gets bombed by Sylves. He gets to rebomb as well, gets the force so far back as well. Dupe, who's managing to pick up a duo from the Frenchie side, and 2 players down from LF Roma just means that they're going to hold last for now. But that doesn't mean they're going to let off the gas and pressuring the Frenchies in this lobby area. They're really not too contented with giving them this space.
Yeah, I think they're just gonna. You can pretty much see what's gonna happen now. They're just going to chill out because they know that they've got they know that they can chalk off another minute to another minute and a half of the round timer. They've switched off all their off crosses though, so they actually want to try and push. I respect this. This is a good try, but they need to be a bit more proactive right now. They've got Soldier and Cheese who's getting absolutely bullied out, so they've lost flank control already. The Uber's come out way too early. Derpy Hoops is well overcommitted and got absolutely punished for it. And Ron's is on the back cap as well. The only person that can stop him is Af.
Oh, he does manage it. I mean, it looked like Duo crashed out as that Uber charge started, which is really, really unfortunate for them. Hempus is trying to sort of make his mark there as well, but gets picked up from a body shot from Demul, who seemingly caught out himself, but Alien Smiley has a little something to say about it here as LF Roma, they're just going to have to back their way up to last. 3 players already there, waiting for these spawners, and Duo hopefully rejoining the Frenchie soon enough, but they are being gentlemen, which you've got to respect. So both teams equal Uber advantage, a decent chunk of cap time on both sides, but again, the French is having a crack on last. Uber now coming out of the Frenchies, they're coming straight into lower. Seems like a bit of a melee here. Significantly better Uber out of LF Roma, but they have lost Af here, so that's a lot of chasing power down. Geordie trying to make his mark at the end of this. Patchouli's so weak,
No
he does get
way.
taken down by the pick. Wow, so the Frenchies, although weak, are not letting go of the gas just yet. Rons tries for a little bit of a Hail Mary there, as does Neo and Duo, but it seems so discoordinated here as Alien Smiley piles in with Demul. But it looked like you had sort of a 1v5s there, Josh.
It was pretty much just sort of Lemmings situation, you know. Geordie getting that pick onto Patchouli. Don't know if it's really lucky. He definitely should have died. He was alive long enough to definitely die in that situation. But well played from Geordie regardless. Gets a lovely pick, and then Frenchies just sort of feed like lemmings because they have no choice. They've got a sniper and they're pushing last. They have to do it. And also gets picked off straight away. What a beautiful bomb from Duo and Rons. That's much better coordination. They picked up 3 picks instantly from this. They don't have to overcommit now. The Frenchies, they can just hold S and just let LF Roma just feed like lemmings. And they do exactly that. Well played. Really good hold.
Yeah, that's really good for them. At control of mid, a full Uber advantage now. Only Sills sort of has an opportunity, but he is well in the sight of the Frenchies as they tick this second cap over. LF Roma now sort of scrabbling to get their last defenses up. They have got an engineer, and the Frenchies just want to get in the driving seat as quickly as possible here to try and disassemble LF Roma's defense for seemingly the 5th or 6th time in this first map here.
Nice, pretty standard hold. Sniper in the spawn, NG on the shot, Sticky's on point. Frenchie's using Uber coming for the right shutter. Neil's, if they take the gun out, Neil should be able to realise he can get on point with this straight away. Or they can just crush the left side. Oh, that's Fat Boys come out. So not getting the focus fire onto the heavy. Demul gets picked off because of it. Push was very disconnected again.
Yeah, just not able to get the damage on the players they want to. Multiple people choosing to shoot the heavy, and then everyone else piling in just a little bit too late when a couple of arrows have been distributed, and it all just falls apart from the Frenchies. But it looks like Derby, who wants a little something more, gets a decent chunk of damage onto Alien Smiley, but is going to have to call it quits as Patchouli slips away for the Frenchies on that mid-fight. LF Roma now putting the second cap over the line. Demul is sniping though. It looks like he wants a little something something.
It looked like Alien got caught in that push, like in the shutter door, because he didn't have an Uber flash to get in early enough, so the gun was alive for way too long. And they showed they got like a pick or two on the soldiers, but it didn't matter. And it also gets forced in kitchen. That's just a really, really poor Uber. It should never. They could have taken that a little bit slower. They knew they had a bigger ad to work with. But truly counter Uber straight away. This is very, very ambitious because they've still got Demul on sniper who's had to go back to his spawn to change off. Jordy's gone in behind. If LF Roma are smart about this is a very good collapse opportunity. Jordy's in behind. Doesn't get Patchouli though. And Sylvs has gone in now. Sylvs does trade after Alien, but trades himself. Dwo, those were really poor rockets. He does bait another kill for it though, but still, that could have been such a better play from the soldiers.
Yeah, LF Roma managed to slip out with a 70% Uber advantage, conceding mid to the Frenchies. Now it looks like they will get two of the forwards on this second point. Sylvs on the sniper. We've seen a lot of sniper on this map to varying degrees of success, I would say, but Frenchies managed to pick up Af, but Dwo going down on their side as well, and they're just trying to force this Uber, and it looks like Drons might manage it and survive, but Alien Smiley gets completely lofted.
What is he? Mate, there is no justification for that.
Let him know.
There is no, that's horrendous. I don't know, I feel like I'm trying to take it back saying he had mid-prom experience after that. But now the Frenchies are feeling like lemmings. They've got such a big Uber ad, they don't need to overextend like this. They can just take it chill, they just need to relax.
Yeah, a bit of a funky one. Rons went for a pretty ambitious bomb, but doesn't get collapsed on by LF Roma because they're sort of respecting the Uber advantage the Frenchies hold, and they're quite contented with just backing out. And then once they have that Uber charge, just playing with the momentum like they have a lot of times before. And 20% away now, Frenchies just getting that cap over the line. They're going to heal up, and they're going to try and bust their way into this grass area now.
Should be able to take this for free. They should not really get forced here. They've already denied Sylvs and Jordy very well. And Auto's going to get caught. Auto gets forced.
Ooh.
Really well played from Dwo. Really good bomb. And they got a really good counter Uber now. Alien can definitely catch Auto with this. But the focus fire doesn't seem to be there. There's red pill from all these players, but they're not focus firing. Auto's going to live. Demul's going to get picked off by these scouts.
Oh, it's all over the place.
Auto's 1 health.
There's a sticky right next to him as well.
Oh
There's a sticky right next to him the whole time as well. Alien Smiley hit mouse 2 at any point in that 5-second sort of bum fight. That would have been lights out for them. But 3 versus 3, the Frenchies do have heals in hand. A little bit of cap time, and they're just quite keen to sort of big dick take this position and force LF Roma onto last. Once again, we're still only 1 round in, 10 minutes. LF Roma, in spite of being 1 round up, have spent a big old chunk of this on their own last.
Yeah, it's incredibly back and forth. Like, if you're LF Roma, you don't want to be in this position. But the thing, there's a confidence booster in the fact that the Frenchies have not been able to make one decent last sort of push yet. Like, they get a couple of picks, but the focus fire and just the disconnection is not there. And now they get a nice little Alien gets a really big bomb into Auto straight away, but don't know, you don't need to go for the medic here. Demul gets picked off as well in the spawn door. Jordy does a lot of trade damage. This is actually very holdable. There's still a gun. They just need to play together now. They can buy time for the spawns.
Yeah, the stickies
gonna go down. Still
as
stickies
well.
on point. Sylvs is playing really well. He's conserving his health, doing exactly what he needs to. Got a really good bomb into Neil. What a beautiful rocket! Oh, Sylvs. I think Sylvs has actually just completely held this last point because of that.
Yeah, Ron's looked like he was opening up a little bit of space for the Frenchies to get onto point, but that Sills bomb just ruined their party, and they're just getting completely chased out here. Alien Smiley getting sort of hot on his heels are Derpy Hooves and Geordie, but they decide against it and cap out that second point, and a 30% Uber advantage to the Frenchies here, but they've got to be getting frustrated having so many cracks of this one egg.
Again, I mean, they're not playing afraid as well at the moment. This is like a really good play for them right now. They're not playing afraid despite having Uber disadvantage, but their heroes get caught by a nice pipe by Alien. Nice little salvage play there. They could catch the soldier and she's runs, catches Auto as well. He got in the flank from behind. Oh, there is no way this cannot be converted. Demo medic there, no sticks on point, no heals, no buffs, no NG. Neo's already on point, sticks on point. This should be a nice easy round here.
Yeah, that was a phenomenal bit of momentum there.
Took a little bit longer than I would have liked. Like, I don't mean that round, I mean just sort of getting the score on the boards because of how long they've been on last. I think I just want to see a little bit more when they're in this position where they need to push last. I just want to see a bit more courage from the Frenchies. Just send in a double sack and just make their life hard.
Yeah, perhaps a bit demoralised from how many attempts it took, but they do get it across the line eventually. It's now a 1-1, and we are in our third mid-fight now. Neither team looking to initiate quite so early this time around. Health looking pretty good across the board. It looks like the Frenchies want to be the sort of first ones to take this high ground, but the counter bombs are coming out of LF Roma sort of dominate that space. Dro comes in with a bomb, Auto painfully weak. Does get taken down as Rollins slips out. Patchouli really sort of penned in on this low ground, and LF Roma seemingly sort of dominating this first fight here, but it could go either way still. It is a 5 versus 5. Alien Smiley picked off for the Frenchies, and still taking a decent chunk of position.
Pretty even, to be honest. They don't really have to leave. Neo and Patchouli don't have to bait runs here. There's 4v4. They can still get in. And then Neo gets baited because of that. Demo's got in behind. That's a nice little two-shot onto half. They should not be afraid here, the Frenchies. Like, there's Tree on mid. They've got better spawns. Demo's in on mid again. He's just getting baited. There's just too much disconnect. There was definitely no need to bail on that situation. Like, despite losing your demo, they were able to trade out a frag. They could have definitely took that fight. And now Patchouli's in a horrendous position. And this scout's not even going to die.
Oh,
Duo's
man.
Duo's beefed. Patchouli has to get the pick. Rons can't get the counter force. Geordie's just done 1 billion damage from window without taking any damage. This is... I mean, you're definitely looking for Duo and Rons to have a nice little salvage play here, but Duo gets bullied out straight away. Duo trades with Silves. Still looking a bit dire for the Frenchies though. 30% Uber against full Uber, no off classes. So it's looking like dire straight.
Yeah, again, LF Roma are able to take so many points without ever popping their Uber charge. And now they're staring down the barrels of last with 50% advantage. Jordy gets completely skyboxed by the Stickies on that point, but the Stickies eliminated nonetheless. Nobody quite able to get into the Frenchies' defensive classes. And this Uber going to be a bit of a fail as Alien Smiley bombs in behind, trying to pen these players into well, nice and chunky on that heavy weapons guy. But it's 4 versus 4. The LF Roma are not quite done yet, but Duo comes in from behind, managed to pick up Sills, doing a huge chunk to Auto as well. And it's just going to be Af sort of left in here, and a pipe from Alien Smiley picking off Auto as well. So Frenchie's really quite keen to push out here, but the pressure from LF Roma has not let up just yet.
Also getting picked off as little sort of saving grace for that as well. Now, nice big full lads. All they have to do is just take a nice little cap point and they can stroll it into mid. You get the mid's control here, and then you're in the driving seat for the rest of the game.
Yeah,
I mean,
particularly they've got this ad.
Yeah, I mean, that could have been completely dire. Alien did a very ambitious bomb on that last hold then when he didn't need to. Oh no,
man.
Oh,
both
dear.
scouts.
Oh dear.
I think that's the momentum gone there, Josh.
Right, if you're the Frenchies though, you should realise that you can still make a fight here. You don't have to be afraid. You've still got a big Uber ad. You just, if you get the heels forward onto soldiers, you can still do like a decent hold. But they need to be playing the point to do that. Nah, they're just taking the safe route.
Yeah, LF Roma take it.
I respect why they did the safer route, but I mean 5 minutes left. Nah, 5 minutes left. I understand why they took the safer option.
Yeah, it could go either way. We could potentially be seeing a golden cap in our first map, with the pace this game has been going. Just 2 rounds in 26 minutes. Demul on his sort of sniper commonplace, trying to get a pick on the red team in this lobby area, but he does get spied out pretty quickly there. And again, seeing a pretty conventional hold out of the Frenchies, but it looks like they're pretty keen to just keep pressuring into this lobby and trying to make it a little bit uncomfortable for the red team.
Oh, well played from Rons. Lovely timing. Rons gets auto. He dropped auto. What a beautiful
Man,
play. He can get more if he gets some support from Duo here.
Dro
But
is in there. Doesn't quite get the damage he wants to. Still seemingly slipping out there in spite of all that. Elefroba not too healthy here, but the Frenchies definitely in the driving seat. Full advantage. Heels in hand. They've come out of under and now they are stacking this second point. Let's see if they can manage to convert onto mid. Let's hope that Derby Hooves does not get an absolute new kid and kill both scouts again and the Frenchies can sort of consolidate themselves on mid and win this fight slightly more dominantly.
W still has the same sticky trap. Duo spots it, doesn't get caught. Neo spots the other one. Lovely. The stickies are cleared. Stills is very isolated. Takes a lot of damage. Jordy's also isolated in the kitchen. That should be a nice free pick. They can leave a scout here and just instantly keep rolling this. Runs a little bit too ambitious, a little bit too aggressive. Could have taken it a bit slower. They still... No, they've lost the ad now as well because of that. But they've got the mids. They've got the driving seat factor back. They should definitely just try to still make some space though. Like, just get position, get information, and see what the hold is like. So if they realise what Auto's playing, they could easily send in a 2-man for this.
Yeah, quite comfortably here, but it looks like, again, 2 minutes 40 on the clock. It looks like the Frenchies might just kind of want to slowly make their way there, a sort of risk-free game. As I say, as Ron's bombs in, gets completely lofted by the stickies of Derby, who's there yet again, and looks like LF Roma actually want to be the ones to initiate this, all stacking their way in through lower. They've got a soldier in Sylves behind as well, but I don't think the Frenchies quite know about him. He comes in eventually.
Oh, he has a lovely rocket onto Demul.
Oh,
but he ends up going for Neo. Neo like sort of comes to help Demul, and then Sylves ends up having to take the fight with Neo, so he can get the pick onto Demul. I saw what he tried to do, trying to like get the fast pick onto Demul, because he gets that pick, then the mid is completely open. So it was a good try.
Yeah, it does a big old chunk of damage, but ultimately nobody there to follow up. We see the double man out of the Frenchies. Beautifully coordinated, managing to kill Geordie and Derby, who's going down to the sticks as well. Auto, just before taking a pipe, it does pop, but it's just Hempers and Auto here. The orb being clinched onto by Patchouli. But he manages to brave it, hold on to it as LF Roma back their way into last. And the Frenchies rolling forward with a little bit of momentum here. Hardly any time at all for LF Roma to get themselves set up on this last. Still seemingly the only one trying to delay them as the Frenchies roll in with full Uber advantage.
They've not even popped. Look how much space they've taken without popping. This is really, really good. Both of these red soldiers are really weak. Derby House is completely isolated on the left-hand side. They didn't focus fire. They managed to get it though. Heavy on point, good focus fire again. And then Sylves is your main focus now, the only person that can block the point. Lovely round. That was such a well played push. Like they took it up to the point without using the Uber. That's like, if you can do that with a push, you're guaranteed a victory. That was really well played from the Frenchies.
It was looking a little bit hairy. The frags came in pretty late in that push, but ultimately getting it over the line, managing to kill that heavy off at the right time this time around. And there's only 50 seconds left now. LF Roma are going to have to pull something huge out. It's not going to be quite possible unless the Frenchies drop a serious bollock here. So Sylves going pretty fast onto Smiley. Doesn't quite manage it, and I think that might be sort of signed and sealed as they're piling over point, barreling, trying to get what they can. Picking up frags on either side, but the medic, Demo, and the other three players from LF Roma going down sort of signed and seals that for LF Roma. And the Frenchies take the first map on LF Roma's pick. It's going to be Snakewater.
I'm not going to say that's a comfortable win, because it definitely was not a comfortable win. There's a lot of chances there where LF Roma could have easily made that 2-3, sort of 3-1, and took like a really comfortable lead. I mean, they got that first round, they definitely had like the full driving seat, all the momentum was there. Then they got stuck on last and it never felt like they could get going again. But there's also another shout out I want to give, and that's to Rons and Duo. They've had some really good synergized plays. Like anytime LF Roma tried to get any sort of presence on the mid for just doing dry pushes or Uber pushes, they had some really good clinical double bombs. They either dropped Auto or forced him or just got a kill on him when he didn't have Uber. And the rest of the Frenchies were able to just sort of take a passive hold and let the lemmings play sort of happen. And then the same happened on that second push to sort of give them that round when they went 2-1. They did a super high bomb and got behind. They landed on the balcony and the lobby door behind the LF Roma team and completely distracted the entire squad. They got a really good trade out of it. Hemp couldn't force Patchouli. He did like 20 damage with the Uber. doesn't get a force out, and that was pretty much all she wrote. Derby Who's was before they even got into last as well, so they had no stickies on point. There was no defensive off classes. Heavy came out too late. Pretty good. So pretty well worked from the Frenchies, but it was definitely the soldiers that did a lot of work to give them that sort of victory.
Yeah, seemed like a little bit of a slog. So, speaking of performance, shall we have a quick look at these logs for the first map, Snakewater? Um, Derby Hooves missing out on the 10k damage by 1 point, which um, I think, looking pretty high considering sort of how much time we saw on that last, but a lot of damage exchange certainly.
I will give credit to Dopey Hooves. He was definitely playing definitely playing better than I was expecting him to. Like on the mids, he was sort of crushing Alien. Alien, I never really felt like his damage or his presence. He just like Dopey Hooves was able to just sort of take a foothold over the point and just completely shut him out. And that was like what gifted them the first two mids, and then they were able to sort of roll from it. Never really on the second holds as well. His second holds were definitely like very strong. He had like good spam, good presence, good spam. He was doing exactly what he needed to there. Again, the last pushes though, I think I'm not going to pin the last pushes though on him because it wasn't really him. Because LF Roma had like two or three last pushes that they could have converted if they had just like played the cap time a bit quicker. Like when you see the enemy team rotating in spawn, that is your instant cue to get a scout to just literally clear two stickies and stand in a corner. The American scout KJK or KJ Quad, I'm not sure how you say his name, did that last season and exploited it against so many teams. I'm surprised Otto didn't sort of take it because he played with that team for a while, so I thought you think he would have seen that strat, but maybe they'll use it more on Gully.
One thing I would like to bring to attention is the medic deaths, yeah? So, Patchouli died 2 times in half an hour, and Auto died 13 times, yet that map was that tight throughout the entirety of it. I don't think we saw one drop from Auto, and that was about it. But getting 6.5 times more deaths on the red hand side is certainly not going to help you. But it looked like LFRM were definitely rolling with a lot more momentum and able to sort of keep running once they did have an advantage in hand, and Bachuli was sort of nurtured.
Felt like a lot of disconnection though, even like when the Frenchies got the med pick, Patchouli was still left alone. But this was a thing. This was like a little bit of a reoccurring theme from both teams. Like the meds would get sort of isolated from their pocket scouts, and they just sort of got left out to dry. But Julie, I saw probably like 4 times where he got left alone by his med or his pocket scout, and he didn't have to die. Particularly when they were in that stalemate on the last point. And then also, I think it happened when they were trying to take the mid pushes. But that was like what I said before when you saw Rons and Dro doing much better sync bombs and much more coordinated aggression together. They were just exploiting the positions that LF Roma took to their advantage, and the results show.
Yeah, certainly. So this second map is going to be Gully Wash. This is going to be the Frenchies' pick again. Another real staple map, one that both these teams, I can imagine, have seen a lot of in this off season. Do you sort of fancy their chances on this one? It's being such a staple.
With the way the soldiers are playing on the Frenchies, I say yes because there wasn't really like one stage last map where I was thinking to myself that was really well played from both LF Roma soldiers. Like, sure, they had some nice individual plays, but in the you know individual plays don't matter in a team game. And if you have two soldiers that are much more coordinated on one team, then the advantage is there straight away.
Yeah, we can imagine they're going to be quite contented to try and pile that into these gully mids and keep the team's momentum into last. Of course, can imagine it was a bit demoralizing with the number of sort of last push fails that they had. But Gully Wash is a new map. I'd argue a slightly more interesting one in terms of last pushes. There's a lot more you can play around with and to sort of try and disrupt the defending team. So that could play into their hands just a little bit, particularly if they maintain this level of coordination.
Agreed. Map sorry, the map's like much smaller as well, so getting to the players as well is much easier. Like if you're going for a last point or last push where you want to just focus frags, it is easier to get onto these players and isolate them very quickly to get quick kills. Karnax I believe it was Karnax who invented the water push, like flashing a scout into water and a soldier bombing over the ring to, so you could send people into waters to isolate demos and roamers, because you usually try and have a roamer to protect the demo down there. Doesn't always work most of the time if you've got other players coming at you, and then you can get on the point really quickly. I mean, same also happens if you want to just do like a point pressure with the Uber. Like Froyo have like a Froyo have a sort of staple hold or a staple push where Banny will just go in with the Uber. Habib will like lock out a shutter door. Banny will just clear 2 stickies on the point and just stand on the point and just force everyone from water to come up to the point to him. And then he bails off point, and then they just isolate the people on point. So hopefully we can see sort of similar pushes like that where they're just sort of using the map to their advantage as well.
Yeah, let's hope so. So I'm gonna cast to you for a prediction here, and who is gonna have to step up to sort of disrupt that?
Mm, it's definitely going to it's going to be more on the soldier aggression or the soldier coordination even, sorry, from LF Roma. Like they need to be in sync with each other. And arguably the focus fire needs to be a bit better as well. Like isolating the people off Derpy Who's damage. Like if ALX is pumping out like a large amount of damage but the frags just aren't there, then that's where problem one sort of lies already. Maybe he's not communicating it enough as well, because we don't know what's going on in the mumbles. So it could also be that. Maybe it's just a bit too silent, or maybe he's not got enough presence in the mumble.
Yeah, we did see Alien Smiley quite a lot. He was really, really proactive in those Ubers, and he himself was doing a pretty stellar job at times of just trying to land in LF Roma as they were backing out, and just trying to really play to the space to stop LF Roma from backing out at really, really crucial times there. And I think that could be somewhat credited for the quantity of deaths that Auto got on this map. But um, just going over the structure of this one again, so um, the Frenchies now one map up on LF Roma's map pick. If they win the second map, they have a guaranteed spot in Prem. If LF Roma win the next 2 maps, they will take that instead. The loser of this match will go into another match for the sort of final spot in Prem with the loser of the other Prem qualifiers game currently ongoing, I believe, on DumTum's stream, which is between the League of Shadow and Vibram. So um, do you have any thoughts of that on that alternate game? Have you had a peeper at that, or
I've not had a
uh,
look at it, so I don't know who. I'm not sure who even the players are on those teams, if I'm being brutally honest. I
I'm
mean, I
sure
know.
you'll be seeing a lot of them next season, potentially at the bottom of the table.
I know Vibrams, if they're similar roster to last season, don't know. They started well and then just, well, first 2 weeks seemed all right, and then they just went downhill. So maybe they'll just use their experience from last season to highlight any issues and fix whatever went wrong, or like try to at least work on what was going wrong, and then they should be able to make a stronger showing. Like at this level, consistency is key. You never win. You never become really past mid prem when you're consistently changing teams. Faint or whatever they're called now, super strong because they've got that consistency factor, or top prem again because they've got that consistency factor. So hopefully Vibrams, if should they win, they can use that consistency factor to their advantage and maybe like start getting a mid prem showing.
Yep. So we do see it. Both of the teams readying up now. Uh, who do you think is taking this second map, Josh?
I'm saying Frenchies 3-2.
3-2. Okay, that's pretty sensible considering the pace of the game we saw last time around, as both teams now rolling into the first mid. Alien Smiley notably quicker, and Derby, who's playing to the enemy side, seemingly a really aggro mid coming out of LF Roma, suppressing Alien Smiley straight away. Geordie in behind, managed to get on Patchouli, dragging both scouts back as well. A huge amount of damage from their side. LF Roma losing 2, and Auto going down as well. Does make things a little bit awkward, but the focus fire from LF Roma looking a little bit better, and Demul isolated under is unable to help his teammates as they all crumble on that first mid fight.
Decent mid initially, also dying very very quickly. They both both of the French soldiers isolating the fact that they tried to do a fast right side mid on LF Roma, and it's very easy to isolate a medic in that little tiny choke and push him back into big door, so they got a free kill instantly. Patchouli, I mean, they called the soldier. Jody was in by himself though and managed to kill Patchouli. Shouldn't have really happened, but first mid things happen. Ron's is taking a lot of space as well. Sills is getting isolated. Demo might be able to get a free pick. No. But both Red Soldiers are very, very isolated. There's no presence from them right now. You got two. Duo got a lovely, lovely flank again, completely uncontested. This is similar to last round. Oh, this is similar to last game as well, where the Auto was getting isolated from his pocket scout. And I don't agree with picking up a sniper this early as well. You're 2 minutes into the second map. It is absolutely pointless to take a sniper at this stage. You want sniper to be a pocket strat where you can sort of surprise the enemy team.
Yeah, we did see that this, interestingly, the sniper out of Alpha as well. He doesn't quite make anything of it, and it really did reduce the amount of pressure that LF Roma could apply there as the Frenchies sort of barrel their way into this second point. Relatively uncontested. Jordan, Sills trying to get a little something with their rockets, but they are having none of it as they make their way into lobby. Still a 50% Uber advantage. LF Roma now scrabbling for some last off classes, but that cap's still not quite over the line for the Frenchies. Have they completely forgotten about it?
They've not capped second.
Oh, they've forgotten about it.
They're going to pick, and they get the gun. But Dwar's going to die now. Sills is on the big flank as well. I think Alien knows, or Alien spotted him, gets the pre-sticky setup ready for him. They know Sills is there, jumping around. I don't agree with that. You know the enemy team's backing out. You just chill. You just go back to your team. You had 100% Uberad. Well, 50% Uberad even. You could have stayed alive and helped your team push. Now they're going to have to really play safe because they've given up so much lobby pressure. You need your heavy classes to take lobby.
Yeah, we just see it sort of crumble from the Frenchies. Obviously, all of them sort of neglecting that second cap there means that they're just going to have to reconcile on second. 20% disad behind LF Roma, and they are quite keen to make their way in before that time ticks down. Neo near isolated, but managing to pick up Geordie, saving his own life. Gonna have to concede second to LF Roma, but both teams are now with Uber charge and an air shot from Rons, air shot from Sills onto Rons. Well, she doesn't get an awful lot out of it. We are going to see a little bit of a trade here, but Neo gets dropped right at the start. Patchouli really holding on to that tight.
Oh,
and he drops Alien Smiley as well.
To be honest, this isn't actually that bad. Like, in the grand scheme of things, there is nothing a demo can do with that Uber. Like, the scout's just going to run away or surf away. There's no real way he sort of salvages anything with that Uber. And Patchouli's going to get more spawns this way. Alien's already alive anyway. They've got the really good setup here for like to go in with this Uber now if they want to. Debu's calling for it. Patchouli needs to grow some balls here and just press W. They need to not make runs there as well. Ron's just getting stuck in. Just go in! Press W! Oh my god. That's really... if I was Rons, I'd be fuming there. That was horrendous. They still have the Uber ad, but it's going to dwindle very quickly. Rons gets a nice little pick onto Geordie. Isolating another pick. They've only got a level 1 gun. They could... With this pick and the ad, it doesn't matter if they trade, because they can do a point play with a 1 pick.
Yeah, it looks like they kind of sort of trying to unsettle this push now, try and get that gun down nice and early. Both teams up with the Uber charge. Geordie not spawned just yet, and Sills going down, as does Duo on the opposing side. However, Ron's pretty chunked down. So the Frenchies just going to sort of take it at a little bit of a leisurely pace. Just try and slowly disassemble this.
W's caught on the floor, he's just getting picked up by Neo. Neo ran to main, he got 2 picks. What a beautiful play.
Oh my god, Geordie dropped as well. Yeah, I've got the spawn coming out of Sills. It's going to be a 4v3, but Patchouli again, flinging onto that Uber charge. He's managed to maintain it for so long here.
I respect that decision, but I don't know if they should have just gone back in. They had 5 seconds there where it was only 3 people alive. 4 people in river, they had definitely the chance to go there and like isolate those 3 people and just get 3 picks and finish the round. You know, even if they get spawns, they get it. But now they can just do a 6-on-6 with Uberad. Only problem is you've got a pyro to deal with now, so...
Yeah, this is a sort of really displaced from what we're used to with these French team with their level of aggression, but a really, really early Uber coming out. Alien Smiley denied. Demul trying to sort of melee out under, managing to pick off Sills. Heavy finally coming up from LF Roma, but nobody really in position to drop onto point. It is going to be Geordie who answers the call, but just a little bit of panic settling for LF Roma. Drop too many players at the same time and just get swept up by the Frenchies.
And that's the French push I was on about before, where they Uber 2 people, send them into water. They isolate the people that were in water. Neo ran over the point as well, so there was no way the people in water could back up over the point. Got 2 easy picks. Aliens completely uncontested on the ground. Get Stickies on point, and they just get a free cap point because of it.
Yeah, complete done deal there. The Frenchies now 1 map up. And a slightly different mid. Rons again with a hugely deep bomb as his drone hits a lovely air shot onto Hempus. And we do see the aggression coming out of LF Roma, but they're so painfully weak. The Frenchies playing really tight around Patchouli, managing to keep him alive on a slither of health there, now in the opposing big door. And they're just trying to focus fire, try and pick off these LF Roma players. With Geordie sort of trapped under, does get an arrow eventually. It looks like he's here at the outlast of the mid and manages to get Patchouli as well, but also going down to Demul.
That's... I don't know. That's really poor from the Frenchies. I don't know how Demul managed to lose sight of Geordie, to be honest. He like jumped over his head and just couldn't see him when he looked down, I don't think. A little bit... Don't know. Geordie just hit the invisibility button and just disappeared. Managed to get like 2 arrows that mid and eventually picked up Patchouli. Yeah. But again, there just doesn't seem to be that sort of... just not that level of coordination. They're going for a nice little push here. So dry push, a very ambitious dry push. This is not ideal when you don't have like a big Uber ad. So this is just going to be... This is probably going to slow down to a stalemate now. Yeah,
Ron's sort of peeked in, didn't see anyone. I thought it was sort of free hunting season for them, but ultimately 3 players from LF Roma just came barreling around that corner and managed to catch Neo out in the process as well. So again, are seeing a stalemate after going down on the flank to Duo. And we will just see both the teams building their Uber charge, 20% behind from the Frenchies, but that's going to be pretty insignificant in the grand scheme as Rons tries to bust his way in, contesting Geordie on this high ground, but taking a big old wedge of damage as they try and get onto Auto, who is isolated in the corner, but not enough.
Beef that so hard. I don't know what he's doing, but Duo wasted Rons' damage then by going for an air shot. Duo really needs to start analysing his rockets, because that's like the 3rd time I've caught him out doing that. His rockets are just horrendous. So he's not thinking right with his rockets.
Just anticipating that cast cam here as LF Roma come in with the early Uber. There are a lot more players for them to try and chunk down on the French side, but no frags converted just yet, and the Frenchies ready to collapse. Tempest caught in, but managed to get both Neo and Demul. That was beautiful. Sylph's coming in as well, gets Rons, and they are completely disassembling the Frenchies on this midpoint.
That was beautiful from Hem. Neo tried to chase him because he still had Uber, and Hem just whipped around and just 2-shot him. And then he just whipped around and 1-shot Demul as well. Demul hit a nice little saving grace there, getting the auto pick. Actually, this is a really good chance for Frenchies to retake mid. They got 2 spawns just in time. Yeah, this is definitely a retake for the Frenchies. No heals on LF Roma. They're not even trying to get health packs or anything. They're staying really far forward. Just very, very disconcerting. They could get caught here. Both of these red soldiers, yeah.
Wow, like, Sylphs does get arrowed and slips away, but that was risk.
There was enough evidence to see that the Frenchies were pushing. Why aren't you just bailing? Just hold S. That's horrendous. Man, they just need to wake up.
Yeah, I think they needed a bit of Josh in the comms, but we do see the Frenchies now consolidating themselves on the second. They've got that 50% Uber advantage in hand, and LF Roma not having an awful lot of time to set up these defenses at all, as they are barreling straight in through this shutter, isolating pretty much half of the LF Roma team in that spawn door, but no point play just yet, and no flags converted off the back of that Uber charges. They're just 15% away on the red side.
What is going on in secret? Neo and Geordie. I really hope the cast got that, because that was the most that was awful. I don't know why no one supported. Yeah, pretty much. Like, Neo isolated Geordie in secret to give his team like a completely free frag, and surely he would have communicated it, but nobody has decided, oh, I'll just go and secure the frag, and then Neo ends up with a melee 1v1 and loses it. That was horrendous.
But LF Roma off the back of that do manage to sort of get their way up to the top of River. Auto barreling, goes through stickies. That was so tight there, but it is just going to be a solo trade on Hempus. He's gone so deep, managing to get Alien Smiley, but that's going to be about it, as Auto left on his own in choke. Hempus so weak in this big door, but still seemingly coming in there to try and save the day, as 2 players down from the French side, and the counter Uber coming out interestingly.
They're getting baited very hard by Hemp when these Uber trades, and Rons is really weak. Rons is going to get picked off by Geordie on the flank. There's potential he can get chased here. Nope, never mind. Spawning demo. Good save from Alien. Yeah, that's twice now. Hemp has done a trade into mid, and he's managed to like bait the French scouts into chasing him, and they just get free picks because of it. They need to... I think the Frenchies just need to realise when they can chase and when they can't chase. That's the only thing that's sort of like preventing them from like getting the actual frags post Uber trade. Because there was 2 scouts. I mean, Hemp could have died much quicker as well. The fact that he didn't die was like quite impressive in itself. But I think they just need to be a bit more controlled post Uber trade. Because they only got the alien pick, so it wasn't even like that good of an Uber.
Speaking of Ubers, we are seeing out LF Roma. We do see Derpy, who was pretty denied at the start there, but again, no frags taken off just yet. A bit of point play on the cards, and the counter now coming out of the Frenchies as they are 2 players down. But LF Roma is sort of going to have to reconcile, try and go for this repush, and they need to focus these players on point. There's 3 of them there. Joe comes out of spawn, and he's bombing over as well. But so many players from the Frenchies going down, just Neo and Patchouli remaining. I think maybe a couple too many, quite close there, Josh.
It was Silves and Geordie salvaging that push, because that Uber was awful, but Silves and Geordie, like, that was the first time I've seen them double bomb together, and it was beautifully executed. They instantly picked up 2 kills. Silves dies in the process, but Geordie lives, and then they're just able to walk back in with Derpy, who's like doing like 1 billion damage to the heavy on point. Very, very nice play from the LF Roma soldiers.
Yeah, managing to tie it up now in this second map. And we are going to see the 3rd mid going on here. The Frenchies playing a pretty passive position, and 2 unknown threads in LF Roma are underneath, but still getting picked off pretty early there, as does Geordie. Truly being well sort of protected at the start of this mid, but a really sort of discoordinated aggression out of the Frenchies, but ultimately it's enough for Demul to slip away with Patchouli, and the Ubers pretty much equals there.
Quite discoordinated from both teams. I mean, the thing that was giving the Frenchies like better mids in the first 2 rounds was that the soldiers were taking better position, because soldiers are so underrated on this mids. If you can just take a good position and keep yourself alive, you're going to have much more impact than just like going for a feed bomb and doing 1 billion damage. Like Geordie and Silves that mid just sort of did feed bombs because they landed on the nipple and just died instantly. And then Rons and Duo came in behind with a very good flank, but it was a bit mistimed, and the focus fire was completely different because Duo went for the demo while Rons went for the demo while Duo went for the meds. So little bit of just focus fire disconnection. Derpy gets picked up in lobby by Duo. That's a really good pick. If you get a sniper here, you can actually do like a nice little slow push with this. But I think that looks like they're content to just sit on last.
Yeah, both teams playing it sort of peculiarly safe, but you know, we do know that Frenchies in winning this map will qualify for Prem, and LF Roma are going to have to go down to that sort of lower bracket to battle for that 3rd spot in these qualifiers. So both teams just playing it nice and safe, just trying to feel each other out nice and slowly as the Frenchies sort of set themselves up on this last point. LF Roma seemingly gearing up for a river push, and let's see how they are going to try and disassemble this hold from the Frenchies.
If they've paid attention, they'll know Alien has no stickies on point right now. I mean, they've got Rons covering on the ring, but if you pressure the point hard enough, Rons is losing this. Rons could die on point here. He's 10 HP.
We got Geordie going there as well.
Oh, that's just wild.
Geordie on point. They send the Pyro and Neo onto point. It's going to be enough to pull back one of the players from the French side and sort of stunt their momentum. Joe unable to convert that frag onto auto, unfortunately, again.
The soldier
in the driving seat
really needs to be isolated, really needs to be killed now or dealt with. He's been alive for way too long. The soldier's managed to push back. Neo gets picked off because of it. Yeah, and this is what happens when you have no stickies on point, and now you get forced. You get 2 picks. Johnny is still alive lower. Man, he was alive for 1 minute too long there. That's especially considering like what Duo did in lobby. Duo managed to flank behind, pick Derpy Hooves and Daff off, and then nice rockets from the soldiers.
Yeah, Hampers gets diddled.
Auto's isolated right now. Nice little force. A lovely arrow from Patchouli. That's gonna actually save them. They're gonna get spawns because of that arrow. That was beautiful.
Yeah, they're going to try and make their mark on last. 2 players down from the Frenchies, but Ron's really not too far away as Demul spawns on the heavy as well. It's going to be a bit of a risky one from LF Roma, but they're playing to under the point again. They've identified it as a weakness from the Frenchies because they have so much cap time, but losing 2 of their players. It's just Af left there. Hampus has something to say about it. Just against Duo, he's on the beam, and surely this is curtains for the Frenchies as Hampus picks up that frag.
For some reason they all flocked to the point. Alien didn't decide to play on the high ground while his Fat Boy goes to the point, because the Fat Boy can do so much more at blocking the point. Well, Alien can just play from the high ground and block the shutters. Because Alien turned his back to 4 people and just died instantly because of it. And then Patchouli died as well because of that, instead of just trying to lock the shutter doors. Let the fat boy deal with the point.
Yeah, it looks like they all sort of panicked and just all just got on the point at the exact same time. So it's going to be the 4th mid fight, and now Rons gets chunked pretty early on from Hempers there, and Dwo making an awful lot of space for his team. But 3 players down from the Frenchies means there's not going to be any follow-up, and 2 lovely pipes from ALX managing to pick up Patchouli
That was a really
just to
good mid.
seal that off. That was a pretty solid mid out of LF Roma.
They didn't even do anything special, they just chased the aggression from the blue soldiers. Really good. They actually like paid attention to what's going on. They realized where they're landing and just started isolating them when they landed. They picked off Rons instantly. Dwo then died a second later, and Dwo tried to follow up on the blue soldiers damage, but he got picked off because he ended up in a 2v1. Really nice mid. And while that was happening, Neo couldn't do anything because he got stuck in by ALX's stickies. Really good mid. Well played from the LF Roma.
Yep, Frenchies now managing to get set up on this last. They're 40%. They're at a 60% disadvantage. LF Roma, again, they've got a bit of time to play with. They can really seek to disassemble this push, but it looks like they just want to send this scout into lower, try and make him win the 1v1 with Dwo, which he does. It's only going to be the Stickies and Alien Smiley on that point to have something to say about it. Ron's with a huge bomb, but that's not going to do anything if he got times 4 on the point with Alien Smiley going down, and that's going to be a 3rd round to LF Roma, and that was a pretty quick succession there.
Yeah, Rons wasn't in a position to block points. He went for the combo bomb instead. I understand why he's trying to do it, like try and get like picks to even out the situation, but you know, getting those picks matters absolutely nothing when you've got 2 scouts that are going to cap the point in very, very quick succession.
But yeah, now we do see 5th mid fight are looking a lot faster than our last map, Snakewater, which the Frenchies ultimately won. Dwo going down. Speaking of Frenchies, and a pretty weak combo in their choke. Not a lot of ground at all for them, and you're going to have to just see it back out here. Patchouli tries to slip away, but waddles back into Sills' rocket, and Geordie there ready to receive as well. Couple players from LF Roma there, and another disastrous mid.
It's just such clean TF2. Like the Geordie and Sills, these last 3 mids have played them really, really well. Like they're not feeding, they're not playing into Neo's hands or Demour's hands. They're just controlling like their position really well. Sills got into drop down. Geordie went into blue big door. They're just isolating. They're using the map to their advantage. It's really, really good play from both soldiers. And Rons and Dwo need to start doing a bit more of the same. They need to, instead of just doing the same bomb into big door, start shaking it up a little bit. Use your own drop down, use their drop down, and then use the map to their advantage more.
We're seeing a cookie cutter push out of LF Roma, but this time the Frenchies not sending anyone behind point. This is surely free for LF Roma once again, as all of the Frenchies just try and jump on the point at the exact same time. There's nobody to try and nurture those players going under at the start of these pushes, and it's just free hunting for LF Roma.
Yeah, it's just nice and clinical. Last pushes, they've definitely... They've learned from like the Snakewater where they just weren't focusing the cap quick enough. Like they're paying attention to what the hold is, and they're seeing like where the demo is and where the soldiers are, and they're realizing what they can do with these pushes straight away.
Yeah, we're going into mid-fight number 6. Is getting into a really uncomfortable position for the Frenchies now. 3 rounds down at 10 minutes remaining. And we do see Dwo trying to make a little something happen in the drop down, but Geordie picks him off. A huge bomb from Silves coming out, getting an awful lot of damage, drawing a lot of eyes as well. 3 down from either side, significantly more health on the side of Frenchies, but they're both healed up now, ready to have a bit of a melee on this point. It's a battle of the scouts, the double chariots. Ember's getting a big old chunk onto Neo, taking him down, and the Frenchies are actually going to back out.
Surprised that the French scouts lost that one. I honestly thought the French scout... I mean, you look on paper, the French scouts definitely are a bit stronger than the LF Roma scouts, but just a bit of better focus fire. Neo gets picked off. It happens. But this is a perfect position. If you're LF Roma now, you can just use the mental game to your advantage, where you're 4-1 up, there's 9 minutes left. You can win the game just by tilting the enemy team by doing nothing. And that's like, it's actually, in this situation, a very, very valid strat. You know, maybe after 2 minutes you can shake it up by sending a roamer in and then you take a sniper. Like, this is ideal time to take a sniper because you just want to waste as much time as possible. Normally I don't like doing it until there's like 5 minutes left of the map, but you know, 10 minutes left is still a fine time in this sort of, in the level of stakes for this game.
Yeah, particularly with the sort of amount of stalemating we saw on that first map, and it looks like they don't actually want to sit about that much. They just want to make the Frenchies slightly impatient there, and then try and catch them off guard. Doesn't quite work out, but both of their soldiers going down, and Demul seemingly caught on the sniper as well by Sylv. So just 3 players now
Pachuli's got
remaining from
left
the
by his pocket
Frenchies.
scout again.
Wow.
Another situation where Pachuli gets left by his pocket scout and gets picked off because of it. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the thing is, the situation went horrendous anyway, because the fact that Duel got picked up on the flank because they busted the flank, like, it's as if they're just not reacting to anything that's going on. Like, Duel, sorry, not Duel, I think it was our flank through Big Door, and Duel did a bomb up top, and, no, not Duel even, Geordie bombed up top, and Af went behind, and they picked up Duel instantly, and the Frenchies just didn't react. They just thought, well, there's 2 behind, we'll do nothing, we'll be alright. Then they lost another one when the Uber tray came out, so one got dropped. So you're already in a 6-on-4, and you had a sniper. It's just, you're just asking to lose. Dwarves managed to do this 4 times now. He's gone into lobby. He got the force as well. Pretty nice play from Duel. Nice little salvage play, but I don't know if it's going to come to it again, because they never really focus the soldiers when they get water. They've still got a really good strong hold in this lobby area. Potential for a 3-man sack as well.
Oh, and it
Pachuli's
looks like we
caught
might be
on the
seeing
floor.
just that. A beautiful serve from him, though. Renders their attempts a redundant. Sylv's caught out in secret as well. 3 players down. This is free season for the Frenchies to try and bust their way out here. Derby Hooves' stickies have been nurtured, and they have managed to bust their way now onto this second. Only a 20% Uber advantage, but they need a lot more momentum than this if they want to try and have a winning chance at this second map here.
Got him with the Uber ad, but Otto's going to get his Uber in 1 second now. It's too late. He gets forced. Alien overcommits as well with this bomb. Gets picked off. Geordie's doing a beautiful play. That was really, really well played from Geordie. He's just controlled that fight completely. They picked off Patchouli because of it. They're going to get to Neo is going to end up feeding as well now. Even if he survives, it doesn't matter. And that's going to be another round. Or well, it's the makings of another round. They are going to get some times. Geordie just jumping into the skybox and landing rockets in the big door. He didn't even go for players. He just landed rockets in the big door to prevent Patchouli from running out. And I think it was Deboul as well. And he just isolated 2 picks from it. Really good rocket placement from Geordie.
Yeah, they can just look to close this out now. It's going to have to be 2 minutes around from the Frenchies, and on top of that, they've got to bust out of this last on a 40% disad. And it looks like they're trying to pressure up River, but to what level of L, we don't know, as LF Roma lose their demo man in Derby Hooves, but Demol going down their side as well. We do see Hembus trying to apply a bit of pressure to Ronz in that River area, but it's just going to be thrown all the way back to last. It's 3 versus 4. LF Roma again in the driving seat, managing to get Alien Smiley and Patchouli. Ronz and Dro coming in at the last second, but have managed to get the cap over the line in a near millisecond. And I think that could potentially be game with 6 minutes remaining.
I don't know if you saw what Af did then. He managed to body block. He body blocked Ronz before he could get onto the point. He literally just stood on like the tiny edge of the point, as just stood in his face, and Ronz couldn't block the point, and he managed to get the cap. Even though he got juggled, he just fell down and capped it. It was really well played.
Yeah, that was quite painful there on the side of the Frenchies. So we do see yet another mid going on. The soldiers trading pretty early on there. Frenchies look like they're a bit more dominant with their position, but their health not looking too great as Geordie attempts to get a good chip off with the bomb. But LF Roma really content with just slowing the pace of the game down. It's a near unwinnable position, but they're just not taking any risks.
I mean, you see the sort of like plays that they're trying to make now. It's just too little, too late to make these sort of plays, or like try to go for any of these sort of attempts. Maps it. I think this is looking like all she wrote. Patchouli dies. Otto's got a full Uber ad. It's pretty. This has been a very, very comfortable win for LF Roma. All of them like stepped up really well. Like there was no. You couldn't like pick sort of one bad player from this whole situation. They all played like really well. Geordie and Sylvs much more in sync. Hemp had some really good trade. Speaking of which, he's taking another Uber into last. He's trying to isolate Alien and Patchouli in water. There's a spy on the field as well. Misses a stab. But the frags are all going the way of LF Roma.
Yeah,
and that is all she wrote.
Yeah, quite unsurprising there, considering the sort of momentum that LF Roma had And quite a shock result based on what we saw in that first map. I don't think either of us anticipated a role from either team on any of the maps today, but after they got those sort of two in quick succession, their second and third rounds, LF Roma just sort of ran away with it. The momentum was all theirs. And as you touched on, Geordie and Sills, you said map one, they weren't coordinated. They need to step it up. They need to try and work together. There was a real disconnect between what they were trying to achieve and what their scouts and rest of their combo were trying to achieve, and they certainly did pull it out of the bag there with quite a formidable performance and showing that they do sort of deserve a place in Prem as it's now one map each. The Frenchies winning LF Roma's map pick and LF Roma winning the Frenchies map pick is sort of not what you'd expect, but it's what you'd expect. It seems to happen more than you'd expect. So we are going to go to our decider, which is going to be process. But before that, shall we have a little peeper at these logs, Josh?
Go for it.
One second. Is there anything that immediately jumps out to you?
Nothing I don't think that I've already touched on. Like it was the level of adaptation that Sills and Geordie were showing through the game. Like you could tell they understood what the Frenchies' game plan was. They knew how to counteract it, like every mid that they were doing. I mean, there was only sort of two sort of mids that they really tried. Sent their bow soldiers into their big door and tried to like isolate Otto very quickly, but Otto just started adapting to that by either going really slow or really fast. And he changed that each mid. Like there was some mids where he didn't have a scout, some mids where he did, and the blue soldiers couldn't like counteract it enough. And they just sort of left people waiting for them. They left the scout in a position where he could just wait for the soldier to land and just get a nice little easy two shot. And even if that scout died, they had another player in position ready to get that second frag. So this, so the level of coordination for the blue soldiers or the French soldiers is there, but it's it's wasted because they're just sort of feeding their life away and not gaining anything from it. They're not gaining the auto pick. Gaining one scout pick is just pointless when you've got Derpy who's just running over your own demo. Like I never saw one mid where they just tried to absolutely crush top right, where before auto could even get onto the top right. They could have sent a soldier super fast up drop down and another soldier bombs deep into the choke. They isolate Derby Hooves and then get a scout pick. Then the then if they die, it's all right because you've traded two for two. You got a demo. Alien can crush the mid, and your scouts can take much more space. And two scouts versus two soldiers, two scouts win that 95% of the time. But Jody and Sills just much better adaptation, much more use of the maps, or much more use of the map even. It was just a joy to watch.
Yeah, you did see quite a lot of instances where you could sort of see that potentially like Aff or Hemp were caught out there, but then you see the Sills or um, Geordie just sort of like go absolutely flying in and just supporting in that fight. It seems like the comms were just on point. Like they were always flying at a million miles an hour, just ready to support wherever they're required, rather than sort of making the plays. They were reacting really, really well to what's happening to the rest of their combo there. But uh, we are now on our decider map. It's going to be process again, a real staple, one that is no real surprise. I think probably 50% of preseason scrims, at least from my perspective, are on process. So um, we'll just have to see how the sort of the war of attrition goes in this best of three. Both teams one map up. This is a decider. What's your sort of initial thoughts going into this with the Frenchies seemingly are pretty demoralised after that roll on that second map?
It looks a little bit demoralized. You can see like there's just no real thought process, but this might come back as well to the fact that they're not going to have like a preset leader. But then again, I'm not sure who would be leading on LF Roma either. I don't know if Geordie's main calling or maybe if Otto's taking like a calling role as well. Otto definitely has like the level to be like a good caller as well. But calling from medic while playing medic is also one of the most stressful things when it's easier to just focus on your own game as a medic. Maybe
Yes,
maybe they're like two co-callers. It could be like a co-calling situation, but I'm not entirely sure. I'd have to ask someone to find that information out. But this map is just sort of like a comfort pick, like everyone knows what process is. Everyone's happy to play it. Scouts can dominate on it. Soldiers can do lots of high jumps and fast jumps. And demos usually have like quite a nice time on it as well. Lots of like good high ground for demos to exploit. Lots of traps. So I can understand why both teams want to take this. Like when they're like newly formed teams, it's just like a nice comfort pick. But with how last game is, with how the two games have gone tonight, I don't see the Frenchies having any sort of motivation into this map. It's just they're fighting up. It looks like they're fighting uphill battles right now. But I wanted to see them sort of try to make the map a bit easier for Alien. Alien seems to be getting. I mean, Alien made some very questionable decisions on Snakewater, but he didn't make any bad decisions really on Gully. But it just felt like he was just getting sort of shut down. He just had too much pressure on him. So I'd like to see his soldiers, instead of prioritizing auto, like focus more around shutting down ALX, isolating the demo, and like pushing him back to give Alien more map control. Because that in turn will then open up Neo and Demul to take a lot more space as well.
Yeah, of course, this map, uh, you can a lot more opportunities to be really mobile. We did see the soldier sort of really domineering towards that last one, a bit sort of less tight than Gully Wash, and I can imagine we'll see a few people sort of pulling out the bag going huge. But again, we did see where a lot of both of these teams faltered on the respective maps that they lost was a lot of it came down to focus fire, and once they sort of got that nailed, the last pushes became significantly easier for them. So potentially something for both these teams to identify. Of course, the winner of this map will have a guaranteed spot in Prem. The loser has another crack at the egg, playing against the loser on the other side. There are 3 potential spots in Prem for the 4 teams that have signed up to this. So we'll have to see which of these teams is going to go home with their sort of tail between their legs and try and take on someone from the other side of the sort of qualifiers bracket. But as I say, we are now kicking off. This is the season 40 ETF2L qualifiers for Prem. We've got the Frenchies in blue and LF Roma in the red. It is the 3rd map coming off of a LF Roma win on map 2. And the winner of this takes it all, a spot in Prem, which is what they're all playing for. And a pretty fast mid coming out of Silves near instantly there. Alien Smiley really not too keen to match that aggression as the Frenchies sort of slowly taking this side, a sort of Polish style mid. A lot of bombs coming out. Silves manages to land in the thick of it, doing a big old chunk of damage, displacing the Frenchies all on this low ground, and half of them have backed out, half of them still committed, and it's going to be an easy cleanup for the rest of LF Roma as Frenchies just try and back out as fast as they can there.
They gave up all form of map control by trying to like swarm this one side, but they swarmed it in such a bad way because the soldiers didn't make any space and Alien wasn't really walking forward. But as I say that, WHO's is trying to get a lot of space, baiting Ron's forward, Ron's taking a lot of damage, they get forced as well. I'm not sure about that. There is no low players on LF Roma, and Giordi gets picked off because of that. That's a really questionable pop. Might have been, maybe there was a comms disconnection there where they wanted to use the Uber because they thought they could make a trade, but it was quite bad. Now, if the Frenchies take it nice and slow, just leave a scout. They can leave a scout here and just keep rolling with the aggression and the spam that they've done. They know Af's taken a lot of damage, and they know Derpy Who's is quite isolated. They should know there's no sticky traps as well. They should be able to just sort of take this for free. Sil's got a really nice bomb, but Truly very low as well. Someone follows up on that. That could have been a very, very easy for. Oh, God, Jordy's on sniper. That's a poor decision.
Yeah, the Frenchies seem to go try to go way too fast there. LF Roma sort of were so displaced they weren't able to spam them on mid. But as the Frenchies were sort of making their way through choke, you saw 2 players go super duper deep and just get fragged there. And then their momentum completely stunted, allowing these Ubers to equalize now. LF Roma plenty of time to fortify their defenses on last. They've put up the sniper in Hempus as well. And we're going to have to see how the Frenchies want to try and dismantle this, try and unsettle LF Roma's last hold and put a round on the board. We are just 2 minutes in now, but definitely all to play for here. Tempest gets caught up pretty early. They're trying to snipe in through 5. Neo unsuccessfully trying to pick him off. And LF Roma just constantly trying to apply as much pressure as they can into the Frenchies lobby.
And this is again another situation that you see on Snakewater where they're just taking too long to set anything up. You know, that took a minute to send 1 soldier in, who died instantly with no support. That's just pointless. You don't need to even do that. You can heal up in lobby and just send a double sack in straight away. And Sills that was a nice rocket initially. Shame the scout not like prevented the second one, but that was still a good try at a counter sack. Like, they should be using this situation to their advantage. Like, it doesn't matter that there's a sentry, then you can just use 2 soldiers, because the sentry can't shoot both of you. They could even exploit a scout in this situation.
Yeah, it looks like Duo wants to be the one to try and make a play here. Tries to slip in through one onto ALX, but it does not come good for him this time. We're seeing a weak soldier in Geordie and lobby as well. But again, you know, the Frenchies had a real blistering opportunity there to apply a bit of pressure, but sending in sort of one paltry soldier, not quite going to come good for them there, as LFRM are taking this lobby space, trying to get a bit of counter pressure on the cards for themselves.
This is what they've not realised, the Frenchies. Like, the time is on your side. You've got 26 minutes. That's when you can expand. You know, that's when you can make plays. You can make things happen. So it doesn't matter if it doesn't work, because you're making the other team keep guessing. You know, if I'm auto right now, I mean, aside from Demore getting out sniped instantly and back to the spawn do, Geordie gets picked off for a counter-sack attempt. Just a 1-for-1 trade. Nothing else is going to happen here. But if I'm auto here, I'm mentally thinking to myself, I have nothing to worry about. These soldiers aren't gonna. This one soldier that's gonna consistently keep coming at me. You know, he's gonna do nothing. I don't have to worry.
Oh.
That's a lovely little pick from Duo. But picked up. Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah, those 2 frags are really huge for the Frenchies, and now they just want to bust their way into fight. But Geordie there with the counter bomb, following up on some damage by Aft's gun. Demore managing to get picked off by Geordie as well, sort of disrupts the Frenchies' push, and they're going to have to go back to the drawing board, but by no means are they going to have to give up second just yet. And let's see if Demore is going to opt for this sniper class once more, or whether they want to try and shake it up a bit more.
They try pressuring from the same door. They don't seem to realise to use the map to their advantage as well. Like, 2 nice picks, one's a soldier and one's a sniper, right? So there's nothing to insta-kill you. Runs gets picked off. Nice simple trade frags. Geordie could get picked off though in lobby if they can focus fire him. That's really good. If they adapt now and just realise they can use more doorways than one, this will be much better for them. They know where the gun is. W's really isolated on this. Really weak demo. Demore's in on the flank as well. They're really isolating them now. This is really good. Guns down. This is perfect time to apply the pressure.
Yeah, LFRoma do get 2 of their spawns up the gun, taking a little while to go down. It's a sort of unfavourable trade for LFRoma, using it significantly earlier than the other team, and the Frenchies just kind of have to try and get in here and collapse as soon as possible. Silves goes down, trying to get into that spawn. No stickies on point. We do see blue team playing it. Alien Smiley gets over the line.
Oh, that was very lucky, that capture point. I think that last sticky juggled Hemp off just like a pixel enough for Aliens to finish a cap. That play was much better. They started adapting to what was going on. They realised that there's more doorways than just 5 to actually to pressure a last point up. It was really good. Demore got a super good flank onto Derpy Hooves as well. Much more demo pressure needed though from the Frenchies.
Sills hit a nice free fire there onto Dro, rendering it near redundant at the start of this mid. Sort of a really good opportunity for LFRoma to try and dominate this high ground here, but the count bomb coming out of Ron's managed to just chunk both of their soldiers, and Dro going down as well is not going to make things any easier for them. Patchouli wants to try and slip out with Alien Smiley, and LFRoma looks like they want to keep trying to chase in the form of Derpy Hooves. Sills there as well, but I think it might be a little bit of a lost leader here, and they should just cut their losses, try and take this second point for free. And again, LFRoma having some cracks at last, as opposed to the Frenchies this time around.
A lot of pressure coming out. Neo gets picked off because of it though. Sills is 1 HP. Nice arrow from Auto, saves him. I mean, the big problem is that the Frenchies just get to mid and they look lost. But we'll discuss that in a moment, because there's a lot of pressure coming out from LFRoma right now. They're exploiting the same sort of thing right now. They pick up Rons. Alien has no traps at all. He's just looking at a 5 door while his team's getting bullied from every other door. He's not trying to help. He's not even watching his trap. I've just run straight to him and picked up Duo. What is he doing?
Oh, he's holding it. Does get Derpy Hooves eventually.
But look at the damage in the spawn door. Patchouli just gets forced for free. Sills picks up Neo. This is horrendous.
Thankfully, the frags sort of enough for them to just clinch onto it, but that was pretty hairy.
Yeah, but the spawn times are so the spawn times are much favourable for your attacking team on this point as well. They're gonna not get 2 because they managed to get the point pretty quickly, which is a sort of saving grace. But 4 people and an Uber ad, if they realise what they're doing right now, they could definitely use this Uber ad. Yeah, they're doing it really well. Patchouli's caught. He's got no scout speed again. His scout just left him. Patchouli gets picked up instantly, and now they can just blob to Auto and just do the Lemmings approach, because that's the only options that they've got left.
Yeah,
Them behind. Yeah.
It looks like they want to apply a little bit more pressure. They're not opting to build. They just want to go straight in. But again, they're not clearing these
No.
stickies. Alien Smiley picks up 2 right at the start of that push, and that muddies LF Roma's chances there. They have still got the super advantage in hand, and Duo has something to say about it, but gets disrupted there with a nice rocket from Silves. But again, their foot is on the gas. The Frenchies really want to bust out here, and they are domineering this high ground.
They need to hold S now. The Frenchies, like the Uber's coming up for auto in a second, and the spawns are much more favourable. Despite the fact that you got a demo and a soldier pick, they weren't fast enough to get out of the doorway, and Duo got picked. Duo got bullets off because of it.
Oh, Ron's bombs behind, doesn't manage to get anything. So many players in spawn from the Frenchies, nobody in position to block the flashes from the red team. The only saving grace is to sort of slow down the cap, but not enough as the Frenchies lose a round. It's now 1-1, 9 minutes in. It's still very much all to play for.
Right, the French soldiers need to wake up, because each mid, they've done the same thing. Bronze is doing the pocket rollout on a map where you don't need to do the pocket rollout, and Duo's doing a rollout and not taking the high ground with it. He's just landing on the lower ground again. Silves has done the same rollout every time, and it's just raining rockets down every mid. And Duo's just done the same bomb, and it's 2 HP instantly. It's the same thing every time. Derpius is able to run across point with all this pressure. So the mids are just completely unfavourable for the Frenchies straight away off the bat. Duo's already bound to 2 HP. The red soldiers just preserved their health so much better. And now it's just sort of like a trading spam game on the high ground. It's still not the position you want to be in if you're the Frenchies. Both soldiers go in, one gets picked off her instantly, Duo's dead. And the red team have not lost a single player. They're playing the health game really well. And Rons gets picked off because of it, because Pachulis end up way too far back.
Yeah, on the opposite side of point as well, makes it slightly more challenging to back out, but seemingly Patchouli manages to slip away. Demul wants to have a crack as well, but doesn't manage to the same degree of success. So 3 players from the Frenchies on this second point. A little bit of potential for them to be caught out here, but they hold S just in time before Derby Hooves and Sills look to land right on them. So LF Roma played that mid pretty seamlessly there, and just played it really conservative, really sensible, managing to pressure out the Frenchies just enough. And it's going to be equal Ubers looking to last. Frenchies on the back foot.
Guns going up, sniper on the hold. I don't know, the Frenchies look awful right now. Sills has used the map to his advantage there. Good pressure from the other doors. I mean, this is fine. Sills almost got out. That was unlucky. And they traded Duo for it. That's all right. Oh, but also got forced. Well played from the blue soldiers. Rons did like a nice little counter bomb on top of Duo's damage, and they actually got a nice little force out because of it. That's actually really well played. The spawn times are still favourable for red though, so they don't have to give this up for free. Oh, they do have, well, Derpius jumped out, never mind. If he had a trap, they could have actually potentially done something off this. But now they got a nice little fast PC push coming. No one spotted it early. They can use this Uber as late as they want. Oh, but Alien whiffs his jumps.
Oh, and it looks like they're not going to be able to really catch anyone out there, and the Uber sort of goes to pot. All it was a bit of early positioning there. It sort of prevented LF Roma from overstaying their welcome, but that was about it, as they now sit on a 60% Uber advantage in their own choke, and they are going to want to try and bust into this mid as soon as they can, with the Frenchies giving them a little bit of wiggle room in the choke area now, but constantly applying that spam.
Frenchies have like the Iron Man hold going right now, where they're doing 1 billion damage. This is a super strong hold. They've not popped, although they've not popped, red team's making way too much damage. Auto's 1 HP. That could have been gnarly. Ballsy. Like, very ballsy. I mean, sure they get Uber, but at the cost of like a full Uber ad. Frenchies now have a 75% Uber ad. I don't think they're going to get the dual spawn though. So, I mean, they can still try this Uber. There's still potential to try it. I mean, they definitely should. It's 1-1 and you got 70 ads. There's no reason you don't try this Uber. But as long as they realise they don't need to go for auto and they can just go for like the frags on the high ground, then the Uber should be okay. Oh my god, Pachuli's 1 HP.
Gonna have to pop, and LF Roma again. They're so flippant. They're able to get out really quickly, and because they know that they want to stunt the Frenchies' momentum. Something that the Frenchies did really poorly, tried to shut down from LF Roma on that last map, but it looks like they want to just come straight back in through their PC, completely unexpected. Nobody watching it. Rons does spot it eventually, but Duo going down to Sills on that flank side means it's going to be a pretty clean retake And not only that, but they managed to maintain their Uber advantage here.
Now they're going to be able to keep rolling through. Big double bomb from... Oh, what a
Oh
bomb!
my
What
god!
a bomb!
Oh, it's unfortunate Patchouli survives. But not
yeah.
quite.
Auto's been left out to dry. It's 4 against 2 right now, and Auto's quite weak. They can hit the W keys quite hard here now. They just need to make sure they do it at the same time. To be honest, even if they live, it's not the end of the world. If you can just get the cap so Patchouli gets forward spawn, it's not that bad. Because these red players won't have heals even when they get the spawns. I don't think they got on the point fast enough. Neo's ended up... Neo's pretty much feeding right now. But, yeah. Don't know why he would try and run into these people in the choke point. He had no one to support him. Alien then gets caught by a Sills rocket that Kratos on the way out. Just, yeah, I don't know. It's very, very, just a lot of misplays consistently right now.
Yeah, Neo gets forward spawn, but elects to support his team on last instead. LF Roma now taking this cap, 20% Uber advantage, making their way into lobby. They know they've got to be quick with it if they want to use their advantage on this last as the Frenchies try and consolidate their defenses on last. Sticky's on point, gun goes down pretty early. The Uber coming out of LF Roma, but it's so close for the Frenchies. 14% away, but losing 2. Not an awful number of players ready to contest that point. It's just going to be Rons from their side with support from those Stickies. LF Roma just trading as much damage as they possibly can. The bomb coming over the Uber out, seemingly enough to block the cap for now. 2 spawners up in 2 seconds, and LF Roma might have to call it quits here, but looks like they're saying not today as they're pressuring the Frenchies back into spawn. 3 players on the cap, and again, they're just trading players.
Either Rons has that incredibly good timing, or he's incredibly lucky, because there was 5 red players around that point then, and the blue spawns had only just come up, and he jumped away from the point when it was like a pixel away from being capped. And it was so, I don't know, it's sort of a blessed moment that Alien just kept the Stickies on point there, because that could have been round losing that jump away from the point. But it worked out in the end. Also still got a 40 ad though. NG and heavy as your off classes. Still a lot of cap time.
Oh yeah, and nobody really in position to get onto it too early. The Stickies dead super duper early here as well. So much damage on this heavy weapons guard, but no frags being converted just yet. Instead going the way of the Frenchies onto LF Roma. A nice Uber saw kill onto Af as well out of Patchouli. Auto manages to slip away out of PC, but of course a no heal target means that the Frenchies maintain a full Uber advantage now, and not managing to lock off second pretty quick. They're denying the forwards.
Only one thing that these red soldiers need to be aware of on this last point is they need to get a rocket on point, because Hemp should never be dying to those Stickies. I mean, he had Uber, so he should have cleared the Stickies himself. I'm surprised he did get caught out by those Stickies. It should never really happen to a pocket scout at this level. But that should be one thing these red soldiers, just one red soldier shoots one rocket on point, that caps a free cap.
Yeah, the Frenchies trying to bust their way in now. Duo and Geordie having a bit of a melee in the IT area. Geordie ultimately coming good, and it looks like he might be in position to make a little bit of an ulterior play, but there's so many players stacked onto that, he might be best spent trying to sort of get out, but looks like he might just about get picked up by the flank of the Frenchies, but apparently not. Rons goes down, he's fighting Neo as well, but surely this can't last as Woe rolls out into him. The Frenchies pretty solidly set on this point. It's an equal Uber situation. Rons with a slightly faster spawn, and LF Roma just going to try and get themselves set up on last as best they can here.
Joe's having a little bit of a rough game. I see him just getting abused on the flank very, very consistently. I think LF Roma have sort of exploited a weakness in the French squad. He just seems to be alone all the time and just getting picked off in 1v2s. I mean, it's well played from LF Roma realising it, but the Frenchies should really be adapting to it.
Yeah, gun going down. It looks like the Frenchies want to try and disassemble LF Roma's hold a little bit, but all they do is manage to get the gun, lose Rons though, and so much damage on their players in lobby. They're 3 down, both soldiers going down from LF Roma, but that seems to be enough for LF Roma to try and pressure their way through. Here is no down man up for the Frenchies. Both scouts on the beam trying to charge this forward. The Frenchies playing the high ground to a small amount of avail. It's going to be a 2v4 on this point. LF Roma need to get their players into this push as soon as they possibly can, and they've got control of the high ground here, so we're just going to see a little bit of a bum fight, a little bit of an exchange, but the damage ultimately much better out of LF Roma. Managed to pick up a couple, now 3 frags from the Frenchies as they try and pile themselves onto this second point.
Lovely little trade. The really well played factor from this was Af and Derpy Hooves' position post trade. Hang on, I just want to see it. No, Patchouli's all the way out. Yeah, Derpy Hooves and Af position for that trade was very, very good. They didn't try and like take any of the Uber. They literally instantly disengaged the second they saw Patchouli pop Uber, and then they came back in like at the perfect moment. So really, really well played from them. And Patchouli gets picked off from a lovely bomb from Jordy. Even if Dwo's in behind, there's just no follow-up for him. He's done so much damage to Derpy Hooves and him, but the focus fire is just not there.
No.
They're going for people in IT.
Yeah.
And then they just get Uber. They're going to get Uber for, so they're just going to wipe. There's two behind. They can't out backcap it. Even if Neo lives here, they do know the soldiers behind. I think Rons should get picked off. Yep. That's just her poor focus fire. They could have instantly picked up Derpy Hooves and Hemp in that whole engagement, and then just been happy with that. The Frenchies, I saw what the play they were trying to go for. Like, despite losing your medic, there was easily salvageable plays there.
Yeah, we've seen it a couple times this map where we see some really, really huge bombs coming out of their soldiers. The damage is really well spread across the team, but the scouts come in with a focus fire after, or perhaps the rebombs coming out of one of the soldiers is just not quite there, and it's making it a lot harder for them to win these fights dominantly on the French side. And we're seeing them on the last now 10 minutes 40 seconds remaining. A very slight Uber advantage to LF Roma, but I think it's going to be pretty inconsequential as they want to take this lobby. But we do actually see Dwo hiding behind these boilers here, so I wonder if he's going to try and make something happen, or might fall, like, sort of fade into obscurity again. Gets a scout, and nearly slips out as well from the grips of LF Roma. So it's going to be a 5-on-5. Jordy goes down as well. Seemingly opting for the shotgun there as well, if I'm not mistaken. So they're going to have to just back up to second.
I'm not sure what he intends to accomplish with this. There is much better unlocks that you can use than a shotgun. Battalions and buff banner are your instant go-tos, or even conch. They're much better go-tos in this situation.
Oh, Silks gets completely... Oh, God! Oh, wow, that was pretty devastating from Alien Smiley there. Just lofting him and picking him off. And Ron's going down to Jordy's pickaxe as well. This is prime TF2 here, Josh.
Jordy's just playing Minecraft, mate. He's got like 4 pickaxe kills across this whole series. I don't know how... I'm surprised Rons didn't get that kill as well. Alien gets picked up by Hemp as well into the lobby. There's a lot of pressure now. This is where if they play this right, they can pressure from all the doors, and it could be a very strong push.
Their soldiers are so weak here though, and Sil's nowhere near ready for this push. Neither is Jordy, so a real disruption caused by the Frenchies in that lobby area, but a good bit of return onto Rons as well. The sniper managing to pick him up in the end. But again, the Frenchies foot firmly on the gas. They're really not keen to let LF Roma in without a fight, and they take so much damage. Derpy Hooves does get dropped, and Auto wants to slip away with that Uber charge as his players crumble in front of him.
Still an alright situation. You did get the Uber out, and you are going to get 2 spawns. You're going to get Af and Derpy Hooves spawn, so there's instantly potential for like a 5-on-4 or a 5-on-6 fight with the Uber advantage. Because Jordy can be the spawner that takes care of any people that try to go behind, but I think they're just going to do a little bit of a slower situation. Maybe just... What I'd like to see them do is like spot information more. I'd like them to see what the hold is like first before they do it. Right now, no one's pressuring to see where the Frenchies are holding. They're just getting sort of stunned. They're just sort of getting stunted. I mean, they've taken space now, but it's already 70%. Jordy's getting traded for Demul. Neo's they're gonna like be able to back out and get Uber for last. Could have been a bit quicker. Could have been a bit more faster, but still a good take. But they've definitely misjudged this. This is going to be a Uber trade.
Yeah, it seems sort of unfavourable on both sides. LF Roma not able to take any position whatsoever, and the Frenchies sort of managing to use their presence alone to stop them from taking any space that LF Roma could possibly want. Again, we're just going to see the Ubers just try and tick up. We'll see the Frenchies try and get some defences going, but again, we're seeing a lot of pressure out of both these teams, particularly in this lobby area, and to varying degrees of success.
Hard. I mean, there was a very, very big miscoordination there from LF Roma. Like, Derpy Hooves got isolated in a lobby by himself with Auto. It's really lucky that no one else pressured and also could have died. They got a lovely little push out right now. Alien just needs to get on the high ground and lock this choke out, and then it's going to be a nice hold for the Frenchies. Because this is like 7 minutes left. This is a comfortable position for the Frenchies. Even if you're 1-1, this is sort of ideal for you because you can just make it. You can still make the game really hard for LF Roma because you know LF Roma have to do something. Like they're the driving seat. They've got mid. They've got better spawns and they've got better map control. Looks like they're going for a double PC play. Silch is going to get picked off, I imagine. Yep. Ron's has got a lot of damage in PC. If someone's there to support him, he could have picked off it. He could have picked off Jordy.
Yeah, Jordy using a little bit of risk management manages to slip out with some help from a bit of a French beef there. So again, we're seeing a big exchange of damage. Ron's going down in exchange. Jordy, Duo so painfully weak in the Frenchies' upper right T here, but it's not going to be enough for LF Roma to try and commit off of the back of. So again, seeing a very familiar stalemate here. Duo goes in with a huge sack here, trying to get onto Auto, gets a little bit of a wedge on him, but nowhere near enough to get the force off of him.
There is just no need. That's just such stupid decision making. And now they've got to try and make this hold in a 6-on-4. There's no soldier pressure. Ron's has only just spawned. Jordy's going to get a free bomb and Patchouli gets forced. That's such poor decision making. Even though they lose 2, even like LF Roma just aren't going to be afraid of anything. You lost 2, but yeah, so what? You still have big Uberad, and when you're just waiting, you're just baiting the Frenchies into this position. Oh, they've given up a lot of ground. They're way too passive now. Patchouli's not going to get caught because of this either. That's poor misplay of Alien Will. Could have been so much better from LF Roma there. Did not need to be that passive. Even though they got 2 picks. Dopey Who's didn't get the memo that they were chilling PC. That's a lot of good damage again from the French soldiers, but I don't think it's going to get followed up because the Red Scouts' focus fire just seems to be much more coordinated.
Yeah, really painful disconnect there. Ron's in sewers with none of his French teammates in sight. Does mean that they just got absolutely rolled there. You see LF Roma really domineering this last here. You got Silves in the high ground trying to pressure Demul as best as he can, but it looks like they might just sort of write off and Silves managing to get off Ron. So I'd certainly take a trade. They're just building up this Uber chain.
Yeah, that's a really good trade to take. That actually stunts the Uber ads that Patchouli had as well, so there's no way they can make this push. Yeah, that Uber, I don't know, that Uber mid then could have just been taken so much better. You did not need to be that passive when you know Patchouli and the Duo's on Spy as well right now, like on the low ground below the points. They don't know he's there either. Like he hasn't taken any damage coming out.
He's just going to be feeding as much information as he possibly can to the rest of his team. They now know that they are going into lobby. It is equal Ubers, of course, so the intel probably not going to be quite worth his life there, but he does get the backstab. Wowza. Didn't even need that much pressure from his teammates into that lobby area, but the first time we've really seen something like that in these 3 maps here, and with 4 minutes left, that's exactly the sort of thing you need if you want to try and bust your way out of last. But Ron's going down with Duo. Not going to make things too easy, but Jordy getting picked off means that there might be a little bit of space free for the Frenchies as Af tries something a little bit ambitious on last, trading for Demul.
These solo players are actually saving LF Roma right now because LF Roma still have much better spawn times than the Frenchies do, and the damage initial damage is so much better as well from LF Roma. But Julie's in a very bad spot. There was no real support for Hemp though. W has just sort of baited him really badly then. Could have easily supported him a little bit more with some better spam. And Alien lands on Auto, dies for it. Very ambitious, very pointless. Neo has done another feed play.
Oh, Auto does go down. It takes 3 players, but they all had to go so painfully deep there. But they clinch the full Uber advantage, but is it really worth it?
You've done all this, but what about the grand scheme of things? You can't cut the point. You're gonna get, if you get forced now as well, it's just instantly game over. But Julie's caught on the low ground, takes 100 damage already. It's really bad. Ron's gets picked up and he gets forced. It's just it's just such bad TF2.
A bit of panic setting in, maybe.
Nah, I don't think that's panic. That's just poor decision making. But now the situation is reversed. Red health a little bit bad. Demul's getting really hard bullied right now. Alien's disconnected from his heals. They got a lovely pick onto Derpy Who, so this is like...
Ooh, Duo with a huge bomb into choke. Manages to set up a nice arrow from Patchouli to pick off Auto there, so they're going to have themselves at least a 60% Uber advantage going into second. He managed to deny a couple of these forwards as well, and LF Roma not even contented at all with contesting this second point, just giving it completely up for free for the Frenchies. They are just interested in a solid last push here because 2 minutes 30 remaining. could be a little bit treacherous to try and push this across all 4 points into the enemy last.
Right, they've checked the off classes, they know what's going on, and they're taking out the gun instantly as well, so they don't need to pop Uber. Oh, this is really, really good. This is Snakewater again, you know, they've just popped as late as possible. DeBull's gone in a bit too early though, he's been isolated on the flank. Rons is also isolated on the flank now, but they got 2 picks for it. They've not got the stickies on point though, W is still alive. Frags are definitely going the way of the Frenchies now though. You can just sort of take it nice and slow. 68 HP. Oh, that's... don't know. I mean, yeah, congratulations, you 2-1 up, but again, it just seems so difficult for them to make it happen.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of times they're sort of handed these advantages and given these opportunities, and they've got so much time to work with. You know, LFRM are really sort of rushing to get their defensive set up. It seems like perfect opportunity for the Frenchies to try and take it, but the focus fire just not there. The death's coming in so late whenever they Uber charge, but the Frenchies now 1 round up. There's 1 minute 20 remaining. And we do see LF Roma definitely on the back foot here. They really need to try and make something happen if they want this Prem spot and take this map to a golden cap, but they're not really playing this mid as though they want it to go awfully quickly here. After going down right at the start there, an Alien Smiley on the side of the Frenchies. A lot of more high ground being played by LF Roma, but the counter bomb coming out of Rons, but takes a big old wedge of damage himself. It's going to be Duo who makes the plays eventually, and the Frenchies just going to have to back out with Patchouli, which more than sensible, as they are just 4% away from this Uber charge now, and they just want to play this time. They just want to delay them as much as possible. Oh man.
No way, that's heartbreaking.
That's writ off. Yeah, 40 seconds remaining. GG's in the chat from the side LF Roma. Frenchies now net themselves a spot in Prem for season 40. LF Roma go down to take on the losers of the other Prem qualifiers game for the 8th and final spot in this qualification series here. 20 seconds remaining. I thought the Frenchies might try and go for a little something, but without that mid cap, I think this is all the action we might be seeing from this ultimate map here, with the Frenchies taking the series not quite as comfortably as you would have anticipated coming into this based on their experience.
On paper, I was expecting this result to be definitely... I didn't even expect the game to go to 3 maps. However, from what I've seen, that the French squad's really poor. Just very poor. Like, LF Roma felt like they had so much more control of the map, like, over the series, that it was sort of like... I don't know. I think the lucky stars came out a little bit for the Frenchies. Alien had a lot of very questionable decisions. I mean, the saving grace was the soldier synergy, but that soldier synergy sort of died after Snakewater. It just disappeared. Didn't see it come out initially on Gully Wash for like the first 10-15 minutes it was there, and then it disappeared, and it definitely did not show on this map. The Duo has no idea what to do on process mid. He just walks into choke and then just walks on the low ground. He's not even trying to contest anyone on the high ground. He's not even trying to pressure the demo. Alien has no space as a result of it. The only reason the last mid sort of went as well as it did was because Rons managed to take a really strong position, like down the flank of the entire mid, and like draw about 3 people's eyes. If Rons isn't doing that mid, then they're going to get crushed like they did on the previous mids, where they just got stuck in a corner because Derpy Hooves is just completely uncontested. And this in turn just makes it makes Alien and Neo's life harder because they can't get the high ground and they can't take the space that they should be given. You know, it just seems like there's a lot of homework for the Frenchies that they need to do to make this sort of work. But I could definitely see LF Roma getting into Prem after this performance. You know, Gully looks like a very comfort pick for them, and they didn't even seem too weak on the other maps. Like, just across the series, LF Roma adapted better. But, you know, still, Frenchies won, so congratulations to the Frenchies, but a lot of work to do.
I'm sure they'll take that. It's definitely something to listen to and compound on. It looked like Duo taking the heals away from the people who needed it most, and as you say, Alien, Smiley, and Neo just not able to take the ground that they quite needed to. So could be sort of contributed to how tight that was, and then it sort of just became a bit of a war of attrition on that last point. But speaking of attrition, shall we have a look at the logs from this final map of this best of 3? And I wouldn't say anything too notable coming out of it. Again, we've seen pretty consistent stats across the board here. Again, very, very low medic deaths, which I can't imagine comes as a surprise.
No, the nature of that game makes sense. Kills were pretty low, damage was pretty low across the board. Well, the damage was alright, but the kills were pretty low. But, you know, the mids were like the main factor. Like if you're LF Roma right now, regardless of the fact that you lost, there's so many positives you can take away from it. Your mids were strong. Your adaptation is strong. Your last pushes strong as well. Maybe not so much on maybe not so much on Snake and Process, but they're very easy fixes. Snake, you just need to have someone like play the point a little bit sooner. Process, you just need to sort of dump, like have one soldier clearing the point like before the push starts, and then you can sort of crush the sides together that you want to take. You don't even have to like completely commit onto one side. You can control one side of the enemy team to the point and then get kills that way. But if you're whoever the other team is from the other playoff game, if you're playing LF Roma now, you're definitely going to be wanting to ban Gully Wash because that would be like such a good go-to pick.
Yeah, so
Ren-
that team is going to be Vibrams actually losing to the League of Shadows on the other side of this bracket here.
Vibrams lost.
Seemingly, yes.
Interesting.
I might be mistaken. But yes, of course, the Frenchies have guaranteed their spot in Prem. LF Roma have another crack of the egg in the coming days against the loser of the other side of the bracket. You can join us for that here on Team Fortress TV. Thank you very much for watching, everyone, and a big old thanks to Just Jazz, really triumphantly sort of leading the helms, pulling all the strings, the unsung hero of production, and a big thank you, as always, to Josh as well. I've been Meer. Thank you very much for watching, and good night.